Last time on Square Roots, Sora takes to the high seas, where the ships is crabs, pirates is crabs, cannons is crabs, and crabs is crabs. Later, Sora heads to the big city and runs up the sides of buildings, and they say upward mobility is a myth.
And welcome to Square Roots, the classic RPG podcast. My name is Jim Banks. I am joined by Matthew Van Zant.
Sup, sluts?
Johnny, the living will, Brandon.
Hey, bitches.
And Vanessa.
I'm Vanessa.
She said, I'm Vanessa, sluts.
Ho bags.
Yeah, I agree with the two of you that Vanessa should start talking like Randy the Macho Man Savage.
I feel like the sluts out there know they're sluts. They don't need me to say it.
I'm not calling them sluts. I'm just saying hello to them. They know they're sluts, and I'm saying hello to them specifically.
Okay, well, you know what? I want to say hello to the sluts and the prudes.
And this is a podcast where we play classic RPGs for sluts, one chunker at a time, just like the sluts like it.
We're so sluts for RPGs.
I am getting uncomfortable, even though I find this very funny. I'm also cringing really hard.
And we're about to finish Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yay!
Yeah.
We all just fucking had 100-mile stare, you know, like just burned out
Did
faces
we?
when you said that.
We did it.
That was
we did.
trauma.
We all
Like
finished
you were waiting
it.
for me to punctuate that with a sluts.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that if you were a slut, you'd be very happy with this chunker because there are so many people in it.
Yeah, but there's no beefy boys in this. Well, you know what? That's not true. Pete does show up for some reason.
Are there any beefy boys at all in this chunker? I can't think of one.
Pete.
He just said Pete.
Oh, that's right. You know, Pete doesn't show up. Well, we see
Yeah,
like
he
his
does.
arm.
Yeah, no, he
he
shows up
does.
and Maleficent calls him an idiot or an imbecile.
He shows up like towards the beginning of this chunker and at the end of the chunker.
I remember him showing up at the end. I don't remember at the beginning, but I think I started playing this immediately after we stopped recording last week, so I'm a little fuzzy. I think I got a first hour or so in straight after recording, which is to say absolutely brain dead and fried.
Because I wrote nearly 3,000 words of notes
Wow.
about the end of this game. So let's go ahead and get into hot gaming news so we can dive into this Kingdom Hearts 3 stuff. Anybody have any nugs to share?
Yeah.
Ooh,
Okay, Vanessa, what's your
nug?
nug?
Stray is out, the game everyone's been anticipating, where you play as a
yeah.
kitty cat. And reviews are, I don't actually know. I haven't read any. But it's out, and now you can play it if you want to, which of course you do. You play as a kitty cat. Who wouldn't want that? Maybe me. I've been thinking about it, thinking about cats, thinking about playing as a cat, thinking about how even though I like cats, I don't want to be a cat. However, I'm willing to allow for video games to give me experiences that I wouldn't want to live in my real life in a virtual environment. That's my hot game in news. Cats. Be a cat.
Is that it?
I will say that there's an interview with the Dishonored devs on Rock, Paper, Shotgun. And with that new game coming out, they say they might not build a straightforward single-player narrative game again. It's all going to be online, like that. What's that new game called? The Redfall? Is that it?
Oh, the vampire one?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I like to play with you guys, but I don't like to play with stranger dangers. Because then they'll be like, it's a lady. Lady.
Yeah, it is a play with. But also, Vanessa doesn't want to play with me because I'm so bad at the stealth portion, and that's a big part of those.
That's not true, Johnny. I love playing games with you.
Oh, I have one more piece of very hot gaming news. I think it's pretty fun. It's not spicy. Well, it's not really spicy. If you've been following terrible right-wing blogs on Twitter, you may have seen a picture of the man who assassinated Shinzo Abe wearing what are those called? Che Guevara shirts, and with like the caption saying leftists are threatening the world. But the man who's wearing that Che Guevara shirt is Hideo Kojima. It is not the man who killed Shinzo Abe. And so a lot of people were incorrectly posting, including like some like big French reporters or French politician, claiming that Hideo Kojima did murder Shinzo Abe, and it's pretty funny. He is preparing to sue, so that's neat.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah, what trash. But yeah, a lot of like sketchy sites ran with that picture because they thought that it proved that leftism was bad. Anyway, so that's that funny piece of gaming news. Not funny for the assassination, but funny for the Hideo Kojima.
Yeah. All right. Well, on that note, let's level up. You know what? I'm going to go first this week. I'm going to introduce myself for the level up. I have been power washing my little heart out.
Yeah, this is continued from last week, isn't it?
I did mention this last week, but it was not my level.
It wasn't your level up, but still continued from last week.
Yes, still power washing.
Full week of Chereth cannot stop power wash. Come over, come over to my side of the Square Root's house. I have a power washer. I have a lot of things that need to be power washed.
I've power washed an amusement park carousel, a fire station, a helicopter, a giant industrial drill, a house in the shape of a boot.
That's hot.
Have power washed some kind of religious temple, a motorcycle, a spooky house. I power washed so much stuff, and it is so satisfying.
Would you say you're a slut for power washing?
I am a slut for power washing. I'm a slut for all those different nozzles and cleaning solutions you can use. Oh, man.
So I noticed that I only did the first power wash, but I did notice that there's like different surfaces. Can you damage surfaces with certain types of nozzles? Is that going to be an element later? Okay, because in real life, if you use that 0 degree power washer, you would strip the paint off your car.
Yeah, you're taking the paint off. No, you can't damage structures, but there are certain materials, and some of the surfaces are really dirty, so it takes like you being really close to it or using a different kind of nozzle. Or like in a rare case, you might have to use a cleaning solution to really get like, there was a classic car that I power washed that was so dirty, and I had to use all of my cleaning solutions on it to make sure that I got it as clean as I could.
Did you have to power wash the inside?
The only thing I've power washed the inside of so far, when I cleaned the fire station, they had a drill building in the back of their facility, which was like this 4-story brick building that I had to clean inside and out. But
was
otherwise,
it like the Ghostbusters firehouse?
It was just like this big square structure that they use for like practice, for like firefighter practice.
Oh, yeah.
So I cleaned that. You have to clean the inside of like, there's like a motorcycle sidecar you have to clean inside of. But otherwise it's just the exterior of things. But oh man, so satisfying.
I think
what would you say has been your
here?
What would you say has been your hottest power wash so far?
I think the most satisfying power wash I've done is the skate park. Because a large part of it is like floor surfaces, so like the inside of like the bowls that people skateboard in and all the decks and stuff like that. I had a good time with that. Like power washing all the graffiti off. It was a good time. Game of the year. Matt, how did you level up?
I like to play a video game as well, but this video game is not about power washing. It's about murder, and it's about battles and royales and players that are unknown. PUBG has a new map coming out called Destiny. It's out by the time this episode comes out, but it's not out by the time we recorded it. So I haven't actually played it yet, but I'm very excited. It'll be out very soon. My little fingers will be all over it. And it looks like it is kind of like a mashup of like a Texas setting, maybe with like a little more Louisiana, because there's some swamp and stuff there.
Yeah, there's some southeast
coastal Texas. And it looks super fun. I'm really excited, gang. There's a fully automatic shotgun that looks absurd.
Ooh.
There's a bunch of skyscrapers and stuff. It's the most vertical map they've created so far. And the skyscrapers have like elevators on the outside, like zipline elevators.
See, you told me that there were elevators. I got excited to go in the elevator room to press the button for my floor and watch the doors close.
I quickly corrected myself and explained to you what they really were, because I could tell that is what you thought when I said the word elevator.
You thought that like the boy from Ipanema would be playing as he went up.
And I could be in there being like
polite doorman in a jacket and hat.
A little hat. Being like, 3rd floor, hats, coats, and ladies' lingerie. Tomorrow I'm going to play this new map with Matt's coworker, Paul. And it should be fun for everyone involved, because I am not good at PUBG. But I do like to yell at other people about what I think they should be doing, even though I am the least knowledgeable about what should happen.
You ever see that video of that girl while someone keeps putting in blocks the wrong way into that that game where you put the wooden blocks, and she looks increasingly sad about how they're doing it? That's like when I play PUBG with Vanessa, how Vanessa is. And I'm the one putting the blocks in by playing very poorly or driving her off a cliff or whatever.
Well, it's a little bit different for you, Johnny, because you are actually bad at PUBG. Matt and Paul are good at PUBG.
I'm not good at PUBG.
You're better than we are.
I haven't played it in ages. I will not remember how to pick up guns or reload them, but my presence will prevent you and Paul from playing duos and force you into a match with full teams, which I consider a win.
It does force us. You know what? It's kind of more fun, because even though we don't last very long, the games are very action heavy when you're a 3-man squad with one man that won't come out of a bathroom.
I'd come out of the bathroom if there was an elevator for me to go prone in.
Johnny, how did you level up?
Well, let's see. 2 things. There was a Prime Day sale, and I didn't buy anything, but they had free video games. So I did download all the free video games, like Mass Effect, the Legendary Edition. These are all for PC, unfortunately. And Need for Speed Heat, before I was playing that on Game Pass, and Grid Legends. Now, I'll keep this short, because this is a racing game, and no one else on this podcast cares about racing games, and that's fine. But it's a racing game where all the scenes in between races are like a faux documentary with FMV people talking about the races, and it's amazing. It's so like Wing Commander 3. It brings me straight back to the 1990s, that kind of racing. It's a lot of fun. And just, it's a good racing game. I still don't like how it kind of makes you play all these different types of racing, because some of them I just don't like. But overall, it's a very good action arcade racer with hilarious, like, some of the green screening and special effects are so bad, but the acting's pretty good. And one of the funny things with Grid is that they've been using the same characters you race against for the past 20 years. So sometimes you'll see someone who's never had an FMV actor before show up, and I think that's neat. Anyway, so Grid Legends, you should try it. I think it's pretty good. Also, Pride is coming up. It's not this weekend, but it is next weekend in Vancouver. I have not ever felt comfortable. I have a lot of like weird shame about my kink stuff, which I don't think is that, it's not like stuff you can't do in public, but like wearing singlets and stuff, right? Like, I want to actually wear one in public, which a lot of people in Pride are wearing fetish gear and stuff. And I find myself super ashamed about it. And actually, that's something that my bear therapist, or I call him Therapy, has been saying, you shouldn't. You should just go out. Like, as long things aren't hanging out. There's nothing.
You should.
I'm dressing like a wrestler.
Fine.
Yeah, so I'm gonna do it.
Dress like a wrestler. People go pay to watch people. Like, you're not. Yeah. I thought, are American Pride and Canadian Pride not the same month, or is Pride not on Pride Month?
There's no Pride.
So when you say Pride, do you mean just like your local?
Yeah, the local one. It's weird. Some Canadian cities have it during the American Pride Month, which is sort of based on the San Francisco Pride originally, I think, or New York. Maybe it's New York Pride that originally did the Pride during that. I guess because of Stonewall and all that. I think that's why it's June. But in Canada, it's sort of all over the place. Like, they'll have it in whatever month works. Okay. Like, in Montreal, it's late August, and in Vancouver, it's usually the beginning of August. So I'm going to do it. And I feel nervous, but I think it'll be okay. I just want to look for some good boots so that I can have good boots. Also, it's rubber, so I will have to bring like 5 liters of water. I don't know if you've ever... I don't think any of you have ever worn rubber in the hot sun, but you will sweat.
And I never will.
So much.
I've never even worn rubber in the cold.
It is not very breathable, so you do have to like... I'll also bring like a backpack with a change of clothes and ice water and stuff. So I will be careful, and if I get overheated, I will switch to my non-singlety clothes. Anyway, so that's me. I'm leveling up my confidence about queer stuff that I still feel weird latent repression about. What about Vanessa? How are you leveling up?
I went to go see a movie called Thor: Love and Thunder.
What? This is the first I've heard of this. Vanessa, I thought we were dear friends. Mm-hmm. How could you not tell me?
I did tell you, you weren't paying attention.
That's not true. We talked about it. I remember.
Oh, okay. I went to see it, and I thought it was, drumroll, fine.
Fine, yeah.
It was fine. I wasn't upset
what is
about
fine
it.
for you, though? Is fine good? Is fine not good? Like, give it a number.
I think fine would be...
5? Whatever.
Probably like a 7. Yeah, I'm not upset that I went to go see it. I mean, it was entirely what I expected it to be.
7.
And I went to it expecting it to be what I expected it to be.
Yeah, that helps.
And it was fine.
Having the right expectations helps, you know?
Yeah. Thor isn't my favorite Marvel character, I would say.
Oh, no?
No.
Thor is most of the women that I know's favorite Marvel character.
I would say that Chris Hemsworth is most women's favorite Marvel character.
I mean, that's definitely what it is, but that's why Thor is always the one that everybody's like, yeah, I'll go see a Thor movie. Thor's in this? Yeah, Thor. Thor's fine.
Yeah, I think that my friend who I went to go see it with felt that way. But, and I'm not saying that I was upset when his shirt came off. You know?
I mean, like the part where he gets his clothes ripped off of him is in the trailers. So that's not a secret. That's not a spoiler.
It's not a spoiler, it's not a secret.
Get his whole outfit ripped right off of him, and you do see his bare bottom. I think. I don't know.
What an unhealthy standard to present to young men.
It is an unhealthy standard for young men, and if you want to look like that, you have to work out all the time, eat meat like 4 times a day, and then also you have to not drink any water for like 24 hours before the shot, which is not healthy.
Yeah. You know what they should have done is tore all the clothes off of Russell Crowe in that scene.
He looked CGI'd up a little bit to me, to be honest with you. He looked like
I'm
little
sure they
goosed.
touched up. I'm sure
he looked
they
a little goose.
I mean, I'm sure they goosed in.
They
goosed
in. Goose suit.
You know,
Vanessa, would you say he had a goose suit?
Yeah, Russell Crowe's in a goose suit. And
He's in a goose suit.
yeah. He's dressed as a goose.
I did see that they goosed Natalie Portman's guns.
Yeah. She did a lot of work, though. There was a lot of, like...
I'm not saying she didn't prepare, but they did goose her. They goosed her.
They goose
there were a lot
everybody
of,
in those
like,
movies.
there was a lot of, like, Instagram Natalie Portman workout stuff. She really got fucking jacked in that movie. There was a hilarious interview with Christian Bale where he was like, no, I did not bother to get jacked because I looked at Chris Hemsworth and was like, what's the point? Which I thought was very smart, you know?
Yeah.
Smart response.
But yeah, if you like Thor and you like Marvel movies, you'll probably think this is fine. It was fine.
What did
Christian
you think of the
Bale
villain?
was very good. I thought he was very good.
What did you... It's impossible to talk about without, spoilers, unfortunately, so...
Sure.
Oh, I did have a question. What... Did you agree with me that Russell Crowe sounded... And not just with me. Did you agree with Connor and I that Russell Crowe sounded super Italian?
Yes, which was strange because
I think my brother's girlfriend is Italian, like second. Her parents are immigrants, right? So what does that mean? First generation.
First generation, yeah.
First generation Italian, and she does have a very thick accent, and that's where I think both my son and I picked it up. Was like we were watching it and going, he sounds just like her.
Yeah, I thought it was
very
a strange choice. It's meant to be silly and goofy.
I think it's meant to be Greek. I don't think he's doing it Italian. I think he's just bad at doing Greek.
But I think he is meant to be silly and goofy. Which, of course, as a Zeusite myself, I found deeply offensive.
It was strange, but I thought he was fun in the role. So, like, whatever. You know.
It was
That's
fine.
my opinion. It was fine.
And that is all I have done, except that I continue to play The Quarry with Jim. Things are going not as well as they could.
Listeners should check that out on Twitch. Is that on?
Yeah, the streams
that
are
on?
all... It's on mine, so Fully Loaded Nachos on Twitch.
Loaded does not have an A.
No, Loaded.
Why aren't any of those streams on LiveMox's channel? Shouldn't you be trying to help her build up her subscriber base?
Yeah, shouldn't you try to help me build up my thing?
She asked me to
Twitch,
stream. She asked me to stream.
As a Twitch partner, shouldn't you be helping little guys?
Shouldn't you help the little guys?
Although it's probably better that it's on. It's probably better that it's on my stream because there are a lot of people are a little loose. They got loose lips when it comes to spoilers in the game, so it's probably better.
Yes,
why would
that's
that
why
make a difference on whose stream it is?
Well, because I
she
am
can
not
see the
looking
chat
at
on her
chat.
PlayStation.
I'm using Jim as like a little bodyguard for myself.
He's a buffer.
He's a buffer.
Yeah,
He's
I'm
your
the
buffer.
spoiler filter.
John, when are we going to do our Quarry No Jim and Vanessa Allowed stream?
I don't know.
That's the most polite no thank you I've ever heard in my entire life. I love you, Johnny. It's fine.
I'm just busy for the next couple of weeks.
Such a Canadian. All right, we need to get to the quest log.
Yeah, let's get into it. So we left San Francisco, and we get
27
another
minutes. Wow, we are terrible at this.
we get another gummy ship cutscene with Chip and Dale, and they're like, "Oh no, we lost contact with Riku and Mickey. They're lost in the darkness, and they're stuck because only King Mickey can open up the door to darkness with his awesome darkness keyblade." And then 2 seconds later, Sora just does it anyway, so that doesn't matter at all.
You just described fucking 75% of this into this game. Something happens and then somebody just does something anyway. The end. And that keeps happening until it keeps happening to the point where characters you've never heard of are having conversations that don't make sense. And
I mean,
you're just
maybe
like,
characters
you know what?
you've never heard of.
I'm good. I'm good.
There's also, in this chunker, about 15 shots of Sora, Donald, and Goofy looking dejected as if they're going to lose. Like there's Sora gives up so fast in this game. It's like, why don't you do something?
He has like a very dramatic breakdown when they first get to the Keyblade graveyard that I'll talk about.
Though. I agree with you, but at the same time, like the opposite is Riku, who basically spent 2 games not doing anything, and but at least with Sora, like these are very short things. Like he gives up, and then somebody will be like, "What's up, dude?" And he'll be like, "Yeah, let's never give up." It's great.
But he just keeps giving up over and over and over in the ending. The only cool thing about that dark world with Aqua is that you do get to go. I think we talked about last time. Summon that pirate ship that smashes Aqua in the air 50 times.
Yeah,
that was great.
Johnny, I repeated this chunker with Terra, so I was legitimately like, is this a weakness of the Birth by Sleep crew? Can I do this to fucking
Pretty
Ventus
much
as well? Like, all of them are weak to pirate ship. That's a good piece of information to have for the future when we have to kill these people. Everybody goes bad. Come on, let's be honest.
All right, so we go through the door to darkness, and we end up in the Destiny
With
Islands,
Aqua.
and so. Yeah, well, Sora finds Aqua's keyblade in the sand, and he's like, "What's this?" And Goofy's like, "Maybe it's a guiding key."
Oh
What's
my
a
God,
guiding
we're not
key?
even at the
I don't know.
Keyblade
They've never
graveyard
mentioned
yet.
it before.
We should have covered this last week.
But
No, I feel is that a new term? I feel like guiding key is not a new term.
I don't remember them ever picking up a keyblade and be like, "Maybe it's a guiding
No,
key."
me either.
But they find it, and Sora's like, "Okay,"
that's true.
so he uses it to open the door in that cave from the first game, and Sora's like, "I'm the only one that's gonna go." And then cut to
I'm sorry.
Riku and Mickey.
Don't call
and
it the door in the cave from the first game. This is a huge, momentous. This is where the game started, Jim.
Yep.
But you're here for like 3 minutes the first time.
That's true.
You know, Kingdom Hearts, the whole trilogy, it rhymes. That's what I'm saying.
It's a circle, yeah.
Stanza rhymes with stanza. It's somebody posted
So-
that on Reddit recently as like a real. Like a meme with like George Lucas's face, and it said all that, like a serious quote, and I was like, "Wow, that's amazing."
I've been going on Your TV's Too High on Reddit, and that's an amazing Reddit thing.
I'll check
It's
that
a- People with their TVs are mounted too high in the room, and everyone, you have to look up.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah. I will say that the Reddit app, I think, is maybe because I've been talking about Power Washer Simulator in text and with you guys and stuff, but it's serving me a lot of Power Washer Simulator subreddits, and I am enjoying myself.
Yeah. You know what? I officially deleted TikTok off my phone this week because the FCC recommended that it be taken off of the Google and Apple app stores entirely.
Good for you.
I also read
TikTok is a spyware.
It's
Oh,
spyware,
really?
Yeah, it's spyware. It's legitimate. Like it's an oversimplification, but you could basically consider it spyware for the Chinese government. Like because of the way it's set up, anything can be pulled out of it. It's tracking everything your phone does, and anybody in the Chinese government basically can just access it at will. Even though that's just the way it is with Chinese.
It's not likely that they would care what we're doing, but they might.
But isn't that also the same with like Ring and stuff, except it's the U.S. government?
I don't have a
Is it
ring,
only
and I
okay
don't
when
need-
it's
true.
our government, your government doing
It's
it?
not okay when it's our government. I don't have a ring either, Like, I don't want any
Yeah.
of it. I know that the United States government can track me as well, but I'm not installing a fucking U.S. government spyware app on my phone.
Yeah, and theoretically, they need a warrant in order to do it.
No, they don't. They
Well,
have an
we all know that
emergency. There's an
We
emergency.
all know
Amazon
that
has
the government is garbage, John. You
Yeah.
don't need to explain it to us.
Okay. So all I will say is Ring. Law enforcement officials can access your Ring anytime if they say it's an emergency without a warrant.
That's true. Don't get a ring.
Yeah.
There are other options available, I assume.
I'm sure
I've been
all of them
trying
have
to get
their
a ring
own.
all my life, and I never
Aww. Always a bridesmaid.
have.
It's
All right,
not that you
moving on.
set your standards too high. It's that all the men you are in love with live in Hollywood, and you don't. Go there.
Or New
Well,
Zealand.
they're all on
Land one.
Taskmaster, and Vanessa doesn't have an end to Taskmaster yet. So.
That's
yeah,
right.
and also, hey, did you notice New Zealand guy did not interact with that post I made
I'm
on
not
Twitter?
surprised. Go around tagging
Everybody uses
people
their Twitter that
on
much,
the
man.
internet, being like, "Oh, so and so's in love with you."
Well,
In
I have
grade
twice
school.
as many followers as he does, anyways. So
Also, you never know when somebody's gonna see something. Like the guy could have been having the worst day of his life and been like, "Who gives a shit about this?"
I don't care.
And any other day of the week, he might have responded with a hilarious quip. You know? That's all I'm saying.
I'm
really going to bat for everybody tonight, and I don't know why.
Yes. To make it clear, that guy has done nothing wrong. I prefer not to interact with entertainers. I believe that their job is to take my money and then entertain me and then leave me alone. But I do think that it's a little bit different in your particular community, Johnny, than perhaps in other communities, if you know what I mean.
Right. Yes.
All right, so
The
cut to Riku
slut
and
community.
Mickey. Cut to Riku and Mickey. They're getting their little butts spanked in the darkness world by this Heartless tube. And then the tube sucks up Mickey and puts him in like this dark stasis ball, and then Aqua pops out and she's like, "I'm mad at you for not rescuing me for so long." And she goes to fight Riku, and then Sora just plops out of the sky and like slow-mo. It gives him like a nice slow-mo landing.
Mm-hmm.
And
Riku seems fine that Sora is there, even though they've spent this whole game telling Sora that he can't go there because he doesn't have the power of waking.
Yes, that's 100% true.
But then he shows up and they're just like, "Cool, it's Sora."
We went through the entire game so that he could get the power of waking so that he could come here, and then he just didn't and went anyway.
Sora is pretty mad about that in the gummy ship. They're like, because Jiminy comes out and he's like, "We need to get to the realm of darkness to save Mickey." And Sora's like, "I wanted to do that earlier, but you told me I couldn't." And he says that like 3 times.
I mean, it's fair.
But Sora
I wish
lands
that it had
and
been
then
like that, because it wasn't. It was like, "Jiminy, I felt in my heart that the darkness was calling for me to come." And then Jiminy was like, "Oh, Sora, you had to remember that your friends love you." And then Sora was like, "Jiminy, I love to go to places that I'm not allowed." I don't know what I'm doing.
What I love about Jiminy in this series is that I consistently forget that he is there. Like
Crawls out of Sora's shirt.
and he just comes out of
legitimately
Sora's
might as well be a
shirt.
cockroach for the way he just comes and goes in Sora's clothes, you know?
And every time he comes out, it's a shock to me that he has been on this adventure the whole time.
it's weird.
They never introduce him. Like when they go to Worlds and they're like, "Hi, I'm Sora, and this is Donald and Goofy." He's never like, "And also here's Jiminy, who lives in my shirt."
Maybe they're like, maybe they think that people in whatever world are going to be like, "All right, well, you know, anime kid, dog man, duck wizard, that's fine. But a little cricket man, I don't know about that."
That's a step too far.
That is a step too far.
I'm sure that the toys would have been really upset. Well, actually, they might have been, because bugs are a natural enemy to toys.
It's true.
What?
That makes sense.
They're both on the floor.
No,
crawling
that can't
around.
be true, because if bugs were a natural enemy to toys, why are there so many toys on the floor and bugs in my son's room?
Well, that's what I'm saying. They're
In fact, they
vying
seem
for
to coexist
property.
quite well.
Okay, so Sora shows up. He and Riku combine their keyblades and form like a big light pillar and shoot it at the darkness. Mickey is now free. And then we fight Aqua. That was something.
Yeah, we already talked about this. Why are we rehashing it again?
It's fine. Well, because I talked about it out of order. You fight Aqua and you defeat her, and then you're like, let's be cool now.
Well, Aqua like falls into that like darkness stuff again, and then she opens her eyes and sees Sora, and Sora grabs her hand and helps her out.
Yeah, he jumps in after her.
Yeah.
And then
Unlike
they wake
everyone
up on
else who
Destiny.
just left her behind.
Yeah, and she wakes up and she thinks that Riku and Sora are Ventus and Terra, but it's it's Riku and Sora.
Well, it's because, as Matt said, rhyming stanzas.
I also think that Riku and Sora are Ventus and Terra.
Makes me hate it. I liked this game so much for so long, but this last chunker really fucking got me. Like, fuck
It's a lot.
you. It didn't help that the last 2 chunkers have been kind of uninspired kind of chore levels, but this being just a fucking 10-hour goddamn run of
Toot toot.
cutscenes of people that I don't give a shit about. It's not even that I don't know who they are. It's that I don't care about them.
You know,
That's
the
how
fact that
I feel about anything related to the organization.
By the way, remember how Aqua Guitar Guy showed up a bunch of times in cutscenes?
Mm-hmm.
Where is he at the end of this fucking game?
yeah, you
He's-
don't
He never
save
comes
him.
back.
No,
They never did anything about the
he
coup.
does do something. He brings a blank body to the other
to
science guys.
Ixion?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that happens like really soon. So we get a smash cut to Radiant Garden. We have Guitar Guy and Tall Blonde Flippity Flab organization
I
guy.
wasn't even reading ahead the notes. I just thought about Guitar Guy.
Yeah,
I miss him.
love
and
him
they're
too.
talking about doing stuff to, I guess, like backstab the organization because they care about their research way more than everything else that's going on. And then we get Ixion saying that they've almost reconstructed Roxas's heart, and then oh my gosh, Guitar Guy shows up with just a blank body, which is weird.
Yeah, those things are
I'll tell
creepy.
you later in this chunker when like whoever Goobity Goob's heart leaps out of the blank body and it becomes like a featureless husk in a black robe. That scared me. That was frightening.
Well, that was a past Riku that leaped out of that body, I think.
That was past. That was dark Riku.
Yeah.
Okay. So and then Ixion gets the body from Demix. Demix is Guitar Guy. And then Ansem the Wise pops out and he says, sorry for being a bad mentor. What any of this means, it doesn't really matter. It's never spoken of again. It doesn't have any implications on the rest of the story, I don't think.
I've got a quick question for you.
Sure.
Do you like or dislike whenever they have flashbacks to events of earlier games that they use the old graphics? Because I think that's pretty fun.
I think it is fun too. I like it.
What do you all think?
I don't like it.
Why?
I find it world breaking. You know, I am not meant to believe that the characters are aware that their graphics have been upgraded.
It's something that Hideo Kojima would do for sure, and has done in like Metal Gear games where it flashes back from good graphics to PS1 graphics occasionally.
Yeah, it does that with Snake's face a lot too, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I respect it as a time-saving endeavor. Like, who
Yeah, I'm
wants
sure it
to
saves a lot of
re-render
development
all
time.
those scenes?
I like it. Like, that's how memory works. You remember the way things were at the time.
Back when they had bad graphics.
Johnny's always telling me that my memories are false.
Well, it's because I've never seen Sonic 2 or 1.
All right, so we cut back to Aqua and the gang, and they're gonna go. Sora's like, Aqua, you need to go rest at Yensid's tower, and she's like, no, I need to go wake up Ventus. He's in this secret castle place, and they go to this castle, and Aqua like casts a spell on it, and it does all this jibbity jab reconfiguring, and then it's like a happy castle. Went from a dark castle to a happy castle.
And you're not sure if that's Castle Oblivion or not. I remember it had a
I
name.
thought it was Castle
is.
Oblivion.
It
I
100%
thought it was
is.
Castle Oblivion.
Okay.
Yeah.
No question. It's Castle Oblivion. And they go back,
So-
but then they change it into something else.
I like
And then-
the
so-
scene where you go upstairs and Ventus is sleeping in a big chair, like a sleepy king.
Yeah, I believe they call this room the Chamber of Waking or some shit. Something like that. But yeah, we
Ironically.
find Ventus in his big chair, and he won't wake up, and then, oh my gosh, Vanitas shows up, and he's like, I'm gonna beat all of you because Ventus is my brother, and I want to take him with me. And then Aqua's like, no, I'm gonna do this. And you get to play as Aqua. This is my favorite fight of the whole game, because playing as Aqua rules.
And
She's
you
pretty
also got a
great.
little cut to when Sora. I guess that's when Ventus wakes up, because you get that cut between Sora and Vanitas, and they look the same. And I didn't realize Vanitas has Sora's voice actor too. It's Haley Joel Osment.
Oh, I didn't know that either. That's
Yeah.
Is Haley Joel Osment the voice actor for Sora in this game?
Yeah.
Is he? He really killed it in this game. I honestly,
he's great.
This is the most I've ever liked Sora, and I swear to God, that's half on the voice acting, and I don't know why. He just didn't annoy me.
He's a good actor.
He's a good actor.
Is this his first job as an adult playing Sora?
He's in
would
The
we say?
Boys.
Not his first job as an adult, period. His first
No,
job.
because I think doesn't he do some voices in those 3DS games, or does Sora not show up in them?
I believe he does. Yeah.
I had a big complaint. Speaking of voice acting, I had a big complaint with the voice acting in this game.
Yeah, you mentioned it today, right?
I guess should I wait until he shows
Yeah.
up? Oh,
Yeah, let's wait. So we fight Vanitas. We're actually about to lose. Vanitas is about to execute Aqua, and then
Yeah, that was rough.
yeah. And then Sora has a vision right then, and we cut to Sora's like mind cathedral, his heart cathedral, and Ventus is there and tells him to use his power of waking, and that he never lost the power. It's just inside of him, waiting to be used.
I didn't
And
hate
then-
this. He
Yeah,
basically tells Sora, the way he phrased it worked for me. It was like, you didn't lose it. You've always had it. You didn't lose it. It's just waiting for the right time to be used or whatever. Like,
Yeah. Which
like,
like
if
kind
you
of
don't
makes
really-
the entire game up to this point pretty moot.
Yeah,
Because-
but it already was. But yeah, it does. And it kind of invalidates the whole game. But I don't know. I don't hate it. Like, he's basically like, you didn't lose it. Like, it's just, you don't really control this. It's used when it's
Yeah.
used.
I like this part because Sora like flies in his mind cathedral and points his keyblade at the
In his mind
cathedral
palace.
floor, which is like a picture of Sora, and then it changes to like a picture of Ventus with all of the charms that his friends gave him. And then
Ventus has been sleeping inside Sora's heart all along.
what I think my favorite.
Is why
I think
Roxas looks like Ventus, right? Let's
I
put
don't
it to
know.
bed. It must
I think
be.
it must
The
be
only
My-
reason Roxas could look like Ventus is because when Sora became a nobody, I don't know, the Heartless that produced or the nobody it produced happened to look like Ventus.
I don't know. I think
The end of this
related
game
to this-
aggravates the shit out of me with all of the. I don't understand who all these white-haired guys are. We fought them all. I think they're all the same person, but why do they all look different?
Ventus is the first one, and when he lost his heart, Sora's heart was going into his body. I guess Sora's being born, and that's why they like merged a little bit. I remember hearing something about that.
That's my favorite
really?
piece of Kingdom Hearts lore is that
That's
when
horrible.
Ventus was a kid and
So Ventus
Xenahort,
died the minute Sora was born.
No,
Yeah.
Xenahort separated his light side and his dark side. That's where Vanitas comes from. And a piece of Ventus's heart went into. I was under the impression that it was like a newborn baby Sora.
Yeah.
And I took shelter in newborn baby Sora's heart. And
Why?
so that's where he's been.
But he'd never met Sora before, so how does that work?
Because it was because of
because
like
his-
that
just like
Lightning
the-
Flashes song by Live, Lightning
'cause-
crashes, an old
'cause
mother
Sora's the chosen one.
I thought
dies.
That's
that
a
song was about
superpower.
Bukkake.
No, that song is about reincarnation.
What's the live song about Bukkake? And they had that horrible
Bukkake
video.
Back
They had
again.
that horrible Bukkake video in the 90s that they put on MTV, but they just like covered the person's face in mud. But it was very clear what was going
Is
on.
Bukkake when you're an anime character but you're
No.
hairy?
No.
An angel closes his eyes, pale
Sorry, I thought
blue
we were all up
colored
to date on
eyes.
classic porn terms. Let's go ahead and move on from this
And so
conversation.
since Sora had a chunk
Who
of
had the
Ventus in his
Bukkake
heart,
video? That thing haunted my
that
childhood.
means that his nobody had that form, and that's why Roxas looks like Ventus. There, I've solved it.
Sure.
Let's
Thank
keep
you.
going.
Okay, so Ventus wakes up, and my favorite thing about Ventus is he uses his Keyblade backhanded, which looks pretty sweet. Mm-hmm. He has a backhanded Keyblade. I like that. So Ventus is up. He saves Aqua. Vanitas runs away. He's like, "Oh, 3 Keyblade wielders, too much for me," and then he disappears. And then Ventus meets Sora for the first time. Ventus calls Sora his second chance because he's been in his heart since he was just a little babe. And we get a lot of cutscenes here now that the whole gang is back together. I'm skipping over most of them because they kind of don't matter.
I don't remember anything that happens between the pirate land and the Keyblade graveyard. Do we not just go from there to here? I don't understand what's all this shit.
No, they talk about how like this is our final night to be together, and we're all gonna sit around and talk about how it's our final night to be together.
I remember the orgy. That's an orgy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really the big thing here is that Sora and Kairi share another Paupu fruit.
Mm-hmm.
Nice callback to the
Yep.
first game.
I will say, during the cutscenes of this
Does this
chunker,
mean they're banging now?
They put it in each other's mouths, and then you get that same cave drawing that was in the first one where they're putting the stars in each other's mouths. They're feeding each other.
That excessive, though, because if you share one Paupu fruit, you're like bound forever. So now they're just like doubly forever bound.
Well, but they've both
Yeah.
died, so it feels like once you've died and come back, maybe you feel like if you're married but you both die, but then you both come back and you decide like we're still together, you probably have another wedding, right?
Like a vow renewal?
Yeah.
no, but she's saying that they're eating 2 fruits at once, and that seems like a lot because you're supposed to share one.
I
share
misunderstood.
2. But I will say, for the last 3 hours of the game, anytime that it changed to cutscenes, I did fold laundry, and I ran out of laundry to fold during these cutscenes.
I mean, the epilogue of this game I watched while I was working today, and I would answer an email, and then I would turn around and watch some, and I'd be like, oh, okay, those people are showing up now. And then I'd turn around and answer an email, and turn back around and be like, oh, look, it's Riku.
So we go to the Keyblade graveyard. We have all 7 Keyblade wielders. There's
I like this place.
Sora, Riku,
It's shitty,
Mickey,
it's
Kairi, Lee, Ventus, and Aqua. All 7.
Like as a level, it's terrible, but like as a set piece, it's nice. I like this is where all the butts are, by the way.
What?
What?
All the buttes. This is Butte
What?
Town. This is where they've been
Buttes,
hanging out. This is where they've been. Actually, honestly, this makes a lot more sense than the other games because we never saw the room where all the big chairs are, right?
But
in
the
this
buttes
game,
are around the graveyard.
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
that makes
presumably it looks the fucking same. I don't think you see the specific location, but at least you see the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where was Big Chair World? What world is that?
How do they get up and down?
That's in their
He's gonna
big
name
tower. That's in
This
their big
fucking
tower
nerd.
in Kingdom
I
Hearts
can't handle
2.
it. Vanessa, it's been the whole season. Get your locker!
Okie dokie. Boop, 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 boop.
Inside you go, Jim.
It's hard for me. When I was playing
To
the
breathe
quarry
in
with
his locker?
Vanessa last night,
Yeah,
there
he's
were
very
some
tall.
lockers. There were some lockers in a pool house, and I was like, "Man, I would love to power wash those lockers.
my
They got some
God.
rust on them."
I was
It's
watching.
so funny. It's really weird for me to listen to you talk about that because I have been doing it in real life, and I promise you it's not that fun.
I was watching.
I did power wash my deck, and it was okay. But it was not a good time. It was certainly not a good time.
You could trick me into power washing. You'd be like, "Hey, Huck," or whoever. Look how great this power washing is.
Yeah.
I'd probably do it just to see what it's like.
When I was a teenager, I used to power wash the parking lot of the fast food restaurant I worked at, and it was awesome.
Yeah. You know what's fun? IRL, after you spend like an hour or two holding a power washer handle, your fingers will feel like they have fucking electricity in them. Because they will.
All the vibration.
All the vibration will just fucking make your fingers feel like they are
Oh, cool.
Oh, yeah. I
in
felt
another
that.
dimension. It's
I've
the
never
weirdest
power
thing.
washed, but I'm familiar.
Wow.
Wow. So Vanessa, speaking of Vanessa's locker, I did watch New Zealand Vanessa, Laura, in the locker room in Taskmaster, and she was supposed to sabotage, and I was so amazed. I didn't think sabotage would ever be a part of the show, and I loved it. Does sabotaging come in more episodes?
No.
Well, that's a bummer, because I thought it was such a great idea. Weren't you excited when she had to sabotage the balloons going into the car?
I, of course, was delighted because everyone knows that my all-time favorite TV show is The Mole, hosted by Anderson Cooper, where a
Not
group of
Rat in
20
the
people
Kitchen?
travel around Europe, but one of them is The Mole. And in fact, there's a new show coming out called Snake in the Grass. And this is a combination survival and sabotage show. So, like, 20 people are going to be put in the forest, but one of them is the snake in the grass.
It's like, what's that game we played where you and I were so good at it?
Among Us?
Spy Party. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, Among Us. We were great at Among Us.
Vanessa is terrible at Spy Party. It's the first time I've ever been better at a stealth game than Vanessa. She killed so many innocent people.
I just didn't like the looks of them.
That's the one where you had the sniper and
yeah, we should well play that sometime.
That was fucking fun.
It's really good.
All right, Sora.
We're at Keyblade Graveyard now. Now we finally meet
wielder.
Xenahort. And I know, Matt, you had some issues with Xenahort. Xehanort's performance specifically.
I don't want to speak ill of the dead, but apparently, originally, this part was played by Leonard Nimoy, and then he died. And for this game, they recast him with Rutger Hauer.
I thought it was Christoph Waltz for a while.
Nope.
I was like, is that Christoph?
Rutger Hauer,
Or
and then
maybe
he died.
Isn't Rutger Hauer also
Christopher
dead? Yeah, okay.
Lloyd takes over for the DLC. Presumably Kingdom Hearts 4, because they
I
did
also
not
thought
hire Christopher
maybe
Lloyd
it was-
for DLC.
I mean, you better hurry out. I don't know if Christopher Lloyd's going to be around.
Well, apparently this is a fucking roll with a death sentence.
Yeah.
It's like the
Curse
Dumbledore
rolling.
casting.
every voice actor gets Norted.
Wait, only one Dumbledore actor died.
And he knew he would, too. He said so. He was like, I don't want to take the role. I'm too old.
So I was like, is that Werner Herzog playing Master Xenahort? Because he's like, there's the keys of part of
It's not that good.
and
You can't. I won't countenance this. If it was Werner Herzog, it would be fucking amazing. It's bad. He just mumbles all of his lines. There's no personality. I don't want to talk shit about a guy that died, but it is not good. And I was really fucking like kind of annoyed at the end of this game, going like, this whole game hinges on all of this, and this dude's just mumbling his lines. There's the Kingdom Hearts is coming. No, now I'm doing Bane.
I was born in the darkness.
I can't do it. It was just mumble with very little inflection. Like there was just nothing behind it. It was bad, and that's unfortunate. It's bad.
So
maybe Christopher Lloyd's great.
Xenahort shows up, also Ansem and Xemnas, and they talk about how they need to murder these people in order for
these people
True
were
Light
the
to be
same
around.
person.
They are,
I don't
aren't
understand.
They are.
How are they the same person?
They're just the same person. Ansem is
They don't
Xemnas
even
is
seem to be
Xenahort.
the same person, not just because of their looks. They all have different
Vanessa, what you
fucking
just said makes
personalities.
zero sense. Vanessa said that Ansem is Xemnas' Xenahort. That doesn't make any fucking sense. So Ansem in this game is Xenahort from the past. Xemnas is that Ansem's nobody, and Xenahort
But
is
that guy's
Xenahort.
name isn't really Ansem. That's just what he calls himself.
Correct.
So this is
he's
Ansem
actually Xenahort.
But he renamed
But he
himself
calls
Ansem,
himself-
but they all call
Yeah.
him Ansem here instead of Xenahort.
Yeah, he assumed the
Even though he
identity of
is
Ansem the
Xenahort.
Wise. Yeah, correct.
I hate
So and
this.
then Vanitas also shows up, and they're like, "We're gonna make you do a bunch of battles," and then we do that big arena battle where you fight all those Heartless.
I
And-
liked this because I had that Ratatouille Keyblade, and it does an area of effect fire spell. So it was just like fire, poof out, poof out, poof out, fire. It was
Let's
great.
talk about. Real question for everybody. Let's poll the group. What Keyblade did you use for the finale of this game?
I used the Pirates Keyblade.
I also use the Pirate's Keyblade, but also the Ratatouille Keyblade sometimes.
I used the Winnie the Pooh one because I could shoot from far away.
Oh, Matt, what about you?
I used the Pirates one. We're all boring. The
I also used
Pirates
Starlight
one
because that
is
had stun
fucking
lock.
fantastic.
Oh yeah.
The transformation where it turns into a staff, where it does a spear that does 1,000,000 hits to everybody around you is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And then it turns into a flagpole. And then I'm running up the flagpole to see
who salutes, and no one ever does.
Yep.
So we defeat a bunch of these guys, and then Ventus sees Terra off in the distance, so he goes to talk to him, but oh no, it's not the real Terra. And then they start talking
Terra
about the
is dead. Terra's fucking body is gone, and we know this.
Terra
We
got
know that
Norted.
Terra got Norted. Everybody knows that Terra got Norted, but every time Terra shows up for the rest of this chunker, which is like 6 times,
yeah.
everybody is like, Terra, is it you? So
I know.
fucking stupid.
And so they start talking about the Keyblade here, which is like that X-Blade, X character. Keyblade, not like Key, key.
You know what? Here's an easy way for us to handle it. Just call it the capital K Keyblade.
Can I call it the X-Blade?
Or the X-Blade.
Yes.
All right, so Terra starts beating everybody up. He beats up Ventus. He beats up Mickey. He beats up a bunch of people. And then he goes to attack Donald, I think, and Goofy deflects his attack with his shield. And then Donald gets super pissed, and this is when he uses the strongest spell to ever be featured in a Final Fantasy game.
He uses Zeta Flare.
Zeta Flare. I love that he even yells,
it kills him
Zeta
to
Flare!
use it. I think it kills him to use it.
It does drain him of energy.
Pretty sure it kills him when he uses it.
But he like blasts Terra into fucking outer space with this thing. It's
Yeah.
Fucking fantastic. This is the best cutscene in the game.
He's the best duck.
In a game that is more cutscenes than game, this is the best one. Okay.
Yeah.
You can't be here, Cat.
So Terra's gone now. Donald used Zeta Flare, but then oh no, more Heartless show up. They turn into like a big fucking tornado, and it sweeps up Aqua, sweeps up all the rest of their friends who got beat by Terra. And then this is when Sora has his freak out when he sees that it's just him and Riku and all his friends are gone, and he like he throws his Keyblade down and he does like an anguished scream into the sky. And it's very sad.
My friend.
And he's like, that's where I got all my power, was my friends, and they all got their hearts taken.
Mm-hmm. Just like Johnny did, apparently, because he's gone.
John got Norted.
My friend. Yeah, so Sora gives up.
This is where things get like metaphysical and weird.
Oh, is this where things get metaphysical and weird?
Well, yeah, because this is where...
Anyway, the guy who was the villain in the first game, who is actually the villain of the overall plot of the 3 games, but this is a different version who has a different name and looks completely different, but it's the same guy. Anyway, here's when it's going to get weird.
Yeah, half of the bad guys in the game are all just Xenahort. But so Sora just like, I don't know what happens here. He just like gives up and dies kind of.
He gets
And then-
sucked into a black vortex.
Yeah. And it shows him like there's a transparent version of Sora that's like floating through this trippy sky world that we learn is the final world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And this is where we meet
Spoiler
Chereth.
alert. This is not the final world.
Yeah.
Spoiler
It's
alert.
the final world in name only.
Yeah, well, it's the
Fuck
final world of
you.
life. This is the afterlife.
Yeah.
And then from the sky, this is my favorite part of the whole game, we see a little glowing light, and it goes...
I love that too.
and
Was that
lands in front of Sora.
Chereth Cutestory?
Chereth.
Chereth, yep. Reveals itself to be what looks to be a stuffed white tiger plushie. And it says that its name is Chereth.
And
John's
he's a dream
favorite name
eater.
ever.
Mm-hmm. I hate that name so much.
Which I think that this is the perfect time in this game to be introducing an entirely new character.
I feel that he talks about
Not new.
He mentions that this character has interacted with Sora. He's like, remember in other games when you came back and forth into this world? Is that the cell phone game, Jim? I assumed it was the cell phone game.
This is This is from Kingdom Hearts X, which I did Google it, and I think it's Kingdom Hearts X was playable on, according to their wiki entry, PC browsers only.
Oh my god, a browser-based
It's a
game.
Flash game.
PC browser-based game.
Yeah.
So, and he's a Dream Eater.
Sure he is.
I don't know
He's a
what that
Langolier.
means.
And he's like, hey, you have to get yourself back together.
He's got a little
Figuratively.
purse. I like his little purse.
He does. He has a little like satchel around his neck.
Mm-hmm.
And so he says that Sora can use his, I guess, power of waking to bring his friends back.
Mm-hmm. But first he has
But
to get
he
his own
needs to
body
like
back.
piece himself together first. Yeah. This
And this-
part is boring.
This reminds me of that part in not in Final Fantasy. It's Super Mario RPG where Mario's walking around and you can hear all these people's like internal wishes and stuff
yeah,
when you're
it
talking to
is.
Oh
those.
yeah, on Star Hill.
Because
Yeah.
these are also stars. And they're, I guess, like the souls of the departed or something. And
Yeah, you know, this game in this chunker, for the first time that I remember in the series, starts talking about people's fucking souls. Like, why? We've been talking about hearts this whole time. now there's souls too. What's the deal with that? What's the deal with those? Where do those go?
And there's
and
a
Nominee
mysterious
is one of them.
Oh, is she?
Yeah.
Oh.
You
I
run into
remember-
Nominee.
You do run
Yeah,
into
this
a,
chunker
a
tries to make me care about Nominee again, and I am not here
Oh,
for it.
right. Yeah, you do talk to Nominate. And then you also talk to another girl. And I was like, I was curious if it was Aerith. Like, I was like, oh, is this like a link to Final Fantasy Remake? But it
Aerith?
is
No way.
not Aerith. The
She
one
has
who's
dark
like,
hair, doesn't she?
no, the other girl where you don't see her. And she's like, you don't see the girl, right? She's just talking about,
Yeah.
she knows a boy, but the boy's someone else, and there's someone else, and she wants another chance or something. And then she whispers into Sora's ear who she's talking about. And I was like, is this Aerith? Because it would make sense. Like, what she said kind of worked for Aerith. So I was like, oh, okay, is this a Final Fantasy link? But it is
It
not.
could be, right?
It's
I don't think
okay.
so.
So, what's his face says, Nomura says in an interview, this is external lore. He says it's someone who's appeared in the game. So it could be Aerith.
Aerith?
But
in
everyone's
the game?
thinking it is Yorza's girlfriend who was in,
Oh.
what's that? What's the game called? Venereal.
Someone who appeared in this
Verum
game?
Rex.
Did he say someone
Yeah.
who appeared in this game, or
He said
someone
in
who's
the
appeared
series.
in these games?
In
Okay,
the
then why
series.
would anybody think that? It makes way more sense for it to be Aerith.
No, I
Yeah.
think she's someone. She's probably the girl who's in the Kingdom Hearts 4 trailer.
Oh, maybe.
We're not.
Oh yeah, it could be.
We're not
we'll get
acknowledging
to
that
that.
game exists.
So we piece ourselves back together.
Again.
And Chereth kicks us out of the final world. We go back to the Keyblade graveyard. Riku's trying to hold off the darkness by himself, but he can't.
The final world's where when you piece yourself back together. Like, let's talk about that, because there's more to it than just that. You get to go to like a weird rotating world and fly around and kill hundreds of versions of yourselves.
You don't
And
kill
this-
them.
I
you
died-
suck them. You suck them up.
I didn't die.
It's
Did
a
you
real
just say you
suck fest.
died?
No, I didn't die, but I kept like flying up and down, and then like it had to reset. I hated this. I hated it.
I didn't like this either. Yeah.
I loved it. Like, all you got to do is like land on whatever's up and kill
Yeah.
every Sora you see.
Kill?
then-
This is
Not
such a
kill,
violent
absorb.
interpretation. Suck.
You suck them.
You suck them.
Sorry. And then there are like orbs that you can smack that'll rotate the world.
I put
And, you know,
my
you can-
arms
at this
around
point,
every
you can,
Sora
like, glide and
I
stuff.
see.
So, right? Do
And
you
I
glide
suck
yet?
'em
I'm
up
pretty
Yes,
sure.
you
Yes,
can
you
fly.
can glide as soon as you get to Keyblade graveyard.
That's what happened to Johnny. Is he forgot
Which
how to
like this
fucking
isn't
glide.
this isn't glide in this game. This is fly.
Essentially.
No, it's not true. You have to jump and hold the button down.
Yeah, you can't control
but-
your verticality once
But
you're
still,
up.
Fly implies controlling your
lose.
verticality.
You don't lose
Vanessa,
altitude.
excellent.
You don't
Yeah, you
lose
do.
altitude.
When you're
Glide
gliding?
implies that you lose altitude
do.
as you glide. No, you don't. I
You
don't. think
don't.
you do.
Yeah,
No, you can
100%
glide for as long as you want to.
Go to
I
the
don't know, it
Pirate
seemed
World
like-
and jump off of like a big platform. You can fly pretty much the whole map.
When I
It's
was
pretty cool.
fighting the final boss, I was gliding and falling down. That's why I was agreeing with Matt. So I don't know.
Well, you can do the free fall too.
No, but I was gliding and I was still falling down.
No, I
don't know.
agree I agree too, John. I definitely like maybe in the pirate world it lets you glide forever, but in this part of the game it is not fly. Like you definitely go down here.
Disagree.
Because I used the glide to literally go down up and down the whole thing. Not up, but down, and then I would shoot back up. All right, well,
they
whatever.
just don't
Let's
know
fight
how to
about
do
it
it right, Jim.
and go ahead and cut to.
Jim is crying because you called him a liar.
I was googling it, and I typed in the words "Do you lose altitude and glide in Kingdom Hearts 3?" and I could not bring myself to hit enter.
I mean, you would never find it. The head question is not. You lose altitude.
So
Alright, so
Sora
we're back
finds
at
all the
Keyblade
peeps.
Graveyard.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
back.
and then Sora just gets sucked into the darkness again.
yeah, like he goes through the same thing and has the exact same reaction. I was like, Sora, have you learned nothing?
Yeah, we watched
Yeah.
the same scene because he's like gone back in time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he goes back in time here because he fucks up timeline shit here, which is like factors in very heavily into the DLC, I believe, because you have to like do all this timeline shit and there's all these connection with your friends. It seems very confusing.
I looked at the DLC in the store and it said like replay the final battle as Sora, not as Sora, but it said like replay the final moments of Kingdom Hearts 3 from like 7 different perspectives. And it talked about
Yes.
like Sora visiting each one. So it doesn't sound like the DLC really moves the plot forward.
It still basically ends the same way. We'll get to that. But so we got to go find all of our friends in these different worlds and like.
I thought this was
it's-
the end, and we
mean,
still
this
had
is-
4 hours
This is
left.
okay. Like, you're falling through the void. This is the type of thing that I really like in these games. Like, the stuff that is just... I don't know. I like it when games are like, fuck it. Like, let's just have you fall through a void for a while.
Yeah,
you know?
I liked it. It was very
And, like, you-
metaphysical and
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the type of
I
thing that
agree.
only games can kind of do, and it's neat. And, like, it's fun to... It makes you... You're falling through the darkness, and it makes you crash through stained glass windows of each of the worlds to fight a quick boss. Now, Jim, you lied to me.
What? How did I lie to you?
Jim, you lied to me about how there was not going to be a revisiting of the worlds. And then
I
what
forgot
happens,
about
Jim?
this part. You don't like go there in the gummy ship and do like missions and shit.
it's a very brief revisiting of the world where you're chasing
Yeah.
a lich.
I mean, I think in Kingdom Hearts 1, maybe I'm wrong, but I think in Kingdom Hearts 1 or 2, one of them, maybe both of them, you definitely like visit all the worlds, and then it's like,
it's
but you
both.
only play like half the stories. Like they're shorter. The worlds in this game are longer.
Yes, that's true. But I think like if you combine first world playthrough and second world playthrough, they're probably the same length, if not longer, in the first two games.
Well, that's what I'm suggesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I ended up being about 30 or almost 30 hours in this. I feel like my
Oh,
Kingdom Hearts
really?
2 playthrough was
God.
maybe 35, 40.
I was like 52 hours.
Oh, wow. That's is this the first time you've spent longer in a game than I have? I feel like I'm always I don't know, I kind of rushed through it.
I doubt it is because we played Ocarina of Time and stuff. Like
Hey,
some of these games I've liked more than you. But
Jim?
yes, I stretched this one. I went back. I think very smartly went back and stretched my time out replaying worlds and like getting all the secret stuff instead
Right.
of jumping way ahead because I just knowing myself, if I jump ahead, then by the time this episode rolls around, I mean, I don't remember what happened last week. Now we're
Right.
caught up to what I've done in the last day. And I'm like, yes, I'm here.
Jim,
Yeah.
So this Lich boss that you keep having to fight in every world, it has a bunch of things where it like juggles Sora, and I couldn't really like sometimes I could break out of it by jumping because I do have like a jump counter, but
Yeah.
Whenever I died, the game's like, you
really?
should be blocking, and I didn't know what was I doing wrong. Like, why was I? Why was Sora being jumped?
All I did
like,
was
batted
use
around.
All I did was use the respond attack or whatever. Like he hits you, and then you hit A or like B to recover, and then it gives you the option A to like attack back.
Yeah, well, there are 3 or 4 different counter abilities that you can use.
Well, no, those
you can
that's not the same thing.
You can only equip one at a time, but when you get stun locked, you can use one of those counters. And what I used was like there's like an aerial recovery, but there's also like a counter like offensive, and I used that one.
How do you do that?
That's not a counter. That's a different
It's just
thing.
an ability that you equip.
It might be a
Like, but-
level thing.
Well, they call it a reprisal ability. You have to equip that reprisal ability.
So when you're being hammered, do you hit jump or do you hit block?
Circle. You hit circle, and circle does the reprisal.
Okay, but it kept telling me to block, not to jump, and I don't
think so.
I
That
swear
might be just like
in those
that might just be
tooltips.
like a canned message for like whenever you die
I
by
don't know.
like getting hit physically or something.
I just couldn't block. If I had the Hercules key, I could, but I don't know. I guess, and maybe the Nano key sometimes blocks. I don't know. I use that for its little shooty ability too.
I never managed to, I don't think I managed to block with the keyblade, like parry something one time in this game.
Yeah, neither did I.
Blocking
But
is
maybe the controls are just for layout. Maybe the layout's just different on the Xbox, but like it was definitely the right button.
The jumpy button.
The jump button was the recovery, and then then you hit the attack button.
Yeah, and that's how I defeated, like, finished the last boss. But the game seemed to be suggesting I do something else that didn't work, so I got very, very frustrated.
I think like this game
You know what
more
it
than
was?
a lot of
Using
others.
that honey blade. All the rest of us used. That's the only difference. We all used the pirate
Wheel of
blade.
Time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
but
stun
I
locks
can
in the-
do it.
The stun locks in this game are very
You could do it?
frustrating.
I could
Vanessa's
do
the
it.
best at blocking. Tell us.
I don't know. I just mash buttons.
Say more. Don't
I
just-
mash the buttons, and then it goes ping because you blocked the attack, and then it says hit X to do attack, and I hit that.
Wow.
Huh. Okay. Well, maybe
I
I
don't
should
think I
just
ever
be
heard of
mashing.
ping.
Ping.
Yeah. I think sometimes I did too. And when mashing, but it was so unpredictable that it was very, very hard to repeat. Like I was really trying to get the timing right. And I was like, oh, is this going to be like Final Fantasy VII Remake, where my problem was I was trying to time it and you hold it down to do the reprisals, but it's not that. I can tell you, it is not the Final Fantasy VII Remake. Hold down to counter.
I don't think Jim said that it's a reprisal, but I don't think it is. The attack thing is not a reprisal.
There is,
I didn't
if you
equip
look,
any of
if you
those
look in
fucking
your,
reprisals.
I did,
'Cause
and it says
I never
when you
blocked, 'cause
block,
I don't use that button.
when you block, and it says square, you then will get after a successful block square, you'll get the ability to do a reprisal with X. I was like, okay, I'll equip that. And it never happened.
Yeah, I equipped
Or
lots of
maybe-
those things.
Yeah.
I did not use those things.
What you
I
gotta
just
do if you want to
double
play?
equipped the Don't Ever Die. What's the one that you have the whole game? The
the Koopa
No die.
coin.
no.
Oh yeah.
What you gotta do is put it on easy and mash a
Yeah.
button.
This is the first Kingdom Hearts
Okay.
game I think I've played that I played it on
That's a good
like
point, Vanessa.
standard
I should
difficulty
have done
and
that.
not easy.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I played on standard. Yeah.
Didn't you guys play the last game on hard?
I did not.
I did not. I'm not good enough at these games. Anyway,
I
so
found this was the easiest Kingdom Hearts game. The only
agree.
fight in the game in which I had any trouble at all was the literal last fight. And
too.
it was like I got bounced around a bit. And then I had to heal a little more than normal. The last fight, I had to use a potion. That's the
Oh,
only
God.
time
I
of the
was like
fucking game.
running through all my potions, and there's no store for the last 2 hours of the game, so I couldn't get another Koopa coin.
I
and-
was over leveled, so let's keep that in mind.
Oh,
'Cause like I
that's
said, I
true.
went back, so I must have been over leveled on all that stuff,
right,
which is what I wanted to be. I did not want to have to fucking deal with.
dying over and over.
Yeah.
All right. So we defeat the Lich, and each world you defeat the Lich in, you see the like crystal body of one of your friends who is dead.
It's so frustrating. You get the same cutscene at the beginning and end of each of these worlds, and it's like, fuck you. It'd be fine if they did it 3 times. They do it 7 times.
Yeah. And
Fuck.
then so you're like, well, that's all of them. And Jiminy's telling you, oh, don't forget to only go to the ones with the shadows every time you go back to the falling through the darkness. And so what happens after that once you've defeated the Lich 7 times?
Okay, so we've done that. We're back at the Keyblade Graveyard now. There's a scene here with evil Riku, but I zoned out, and I don't think it's important. Mm-hmm. So that happens. And then, so back at the Keyblade Graveyard, we're about to fight Terra again, like back at the point where he starts to beat everybody up. Mm-hmm. And then, what do you know? His armor, or AKA from Kingdom Hearts 2, the Living Will, shows up. This is who Matt referred to in our pre-recording conversation as the Golden Knight guy. Mm-hmm. Yep. But it's actually like his will, I guess, living on through his Keyblade armor, which is a thing in Birth by Sleep. All the Keyblade wielders, have you noticed they have these like pieces of armor on with these like circle things, these orbs on them? Yeah. In Birth by Sleep, they can tap them and then they get covered in like Guyver armor.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. But his armor lives on, and I liked this fight between the armor and Terra because the armor can turn its Keyblade into like a giant gun, which was really cool to watch.
That is cool.
What do you guys think about this? John, you were kind of confused by this part.
Yeah, a little bit. I just didn't know. I assumed that the armor was like the good part of Terra trying to get back in.
That's kind of the deal.
Like, you can figure out this stuff with context clues.
Yeah. I thought it was pretty clear that this was the green Power Ranger switching to his white Power Ranger armor. This is the most Power Rangers part of the game. Everybody at this point has a different Keyblade and a different color on, and the weapons just appear and disappear in their hands. So they're all, like, they really are, and they're all lined up. All the good guys are lined up in a row with their, like, pink, red, green, yellow, blue, white, black. Everybody's got a different color on. They're all holding a different weapon. And then this fucking golden armor guy showed up, and I was like, and then he, as Jim said, then he fucking he just like hits a man, and then the man tries to hit him, and he pulls a giant gun out that appears out of nowhere and charges up.
He props his Keyblade up on his shoulder, and it turns into like a bazooka.
Yeah. It's the most Power Rangers thing I've ever fucking seen in one of these games. It was, I don't know, man. Like, this is like so much that I felt like it was more homage than.
This felt like the writers just like, fuck it.
I felt like it was more homage than.
Turns into a gun. Fuck it.
Yeah. Well, that's what it was. Like, this is like a Power Ranger armor. He fucking and it does Power Ranger shit.
There's an amazing part in the Tales from the Borderlands.
You're all looking at me like I'm crazy. Like, y'all don't know about Power Rangers? Come on.
I do. I was going to say.
They've all got magic weapons. They're all different. They all fucking magically appear in their hands. Their clothes magically appear on. They're all different colors.
Didn't one have a dagger that he played like a flute?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
To me, this golden armor, I was like, this feels like the first season of Power Rangers when the Green Ranger, I don't remember what happened. He was dead or something. Mm-hmm. He didn't show up until the end of the season anyway, and then he like died, and then the White Ranger showed up, and everybody was like, "Who's this?" And it was like, "No shit, dummies, it's the fucking Green Ranger." We all can tell.
I really liked in Tales from the Borderlands, the Telltale game, where and this is a spoiler for the last episode, they do all get mechs, and it does do like a split screen of all 5 of them saying, "Let's assemble!" Oh, it's great. It was really fun.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so
that's cool, but this clear Power Rangers reference in this game is not cool. And you're all looking at me like I'm a crazy person.
So Living Will beats Terra, and just as this happens, another big Heartless tornado shows up.
Who is Living Will's friend? Probate or death certificate? Or this is the weirdest thing to me. Testamentary document. When's the executor going to show
Where's-
up? Where's Power of Attorney?
And then Power of Attorney shows up.
So
Watch
which
out
one
for
of these
Living Trust, his
do you
twin.
need, and do you not need a medical? Because that will change things.
All right, so big Heartless tornado shows up again, and then we're about to go fight it. Sora's like, I can
BHT.
handle this, and then there's another. He has another vision of another. I don't know who this character is that he sees. Handkerchief boy.
Handkerchief boy.
That has a handkerchief around his neck. He's got to be from the mobile game.
Mobile game. It is. It's from the fucking mobile game.
Yeah,
100%.
I played this mobile game. I played it for like 2 weeks.
Why not? Is
was
it
fine.
any good? Who knows?
It
I don't
was,
know.
it was
this
okay.
is-
It was okay.
This is where
Some
it
of those
turns
mobile
into
games
the
had a decent gameplay loop, but that doesn't change the fact that they are fucking exploitative trash and should not be supported by anybody.
The thing that kind of I bounced off of are these like community events where like everybody has to be playing the game at a certain time to participate to move your story along. And you know what? I play games on my own time.
That's an interesting
Yeah.
idea, but you're right. I would not. That's the type of thing that I would not follow. I would be like, ooh, and then never pay attention to.
Yeah.
One time I'd log in for 10 minutes and be like, I don't know what's going on. And log
I
out.
will say that the graphics were pretty good and the storyline was interesting.
The Keyblade War stuff is interesting. The Keyblade stuff is interesting. The Keyblade Master stuff, like, there's some, like, it's derivative, but it's like a fun take on it. But
Like,
it's,
and
but it
one
only,
of-
I think it only works as, like, filler material. Like, you don't need this. This can't be the plot.
Well-
Or you'll be like, okay, you're just Jedi. Fuck off.
The epilogue, so I guess the first epilogue of the game with the foretellers.
Hey,
that's
no
pulling,
spoilers.
That's pulling straight from the mobile game.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah. Unicorn Head, I for sure was like mobile game.
Yeah. Okay, so we go to fight the tornado. We get a vision of Handkerchief Boy, and he's like, "Want some help?" And then like 10,000 Keyblades show up, and Sora's surfing on him. It's pretty cool.
And this
have
is a
some
very
questions.
fun part of this game.
Yeah.
So when this happens, you get like a series of attacks that you can use, and they all
Yeah,
have
those, like, reaction command
names.
things.
Yeah, and it's like they're former Keyblade holders, but it's like Rock
Usernames.
Socks 228.
These are character user character
Yeah.
names from the mobile game, which is cool as hell. I bet that's so rewarding if you
Yeah.
played the mobile game to see your
Yeah.
username show up. That's cool as hell.
It is pretty cool.
I by the end was paying more attention. By the end was paying more attention to the names, and it's it must be amazing.
Yeah. Oh no, it's really cool. And so you get to like Vanessa said, you get to do all these reaction commands.
I mean, it's all the same
just
thing. Like it's one thing that you do.
I think it's like they didn't have like there's a lot of unnecessary
You
stuff in
shoot.
this game, and they definitely didn't have to put this in. But like I bet for fans, this was rewarding as fuck.
Yeah, I
Like,
agree. This is a neat
yeah.
thing to do. But definitely, each reaction command is just shooting fireworks out of the tip of this
Yeah.
thing into the tornado.
It looks cool though.
It
but-
is. This
so
was
we-
fucking fun as shit. I finished this
Yeah.
part. I was like, I must be coming close to the end of the game. This was so fun. And now we're gonna kill Xenahort or whatever, and everybody's gonna be like, cool. Everybody's fine, and we did it.
Nope, I think there's like 6 or 7 more bosses before you get to the final boss. So
I know that it's not, but it felt like 6 or 7 more hours.
yeah. So we defeat Darkness Tornado. Darkness Riku shows up, and Mickey says that hearts that Xenahort used to have influence over, he can still manipulate, which is why Darkness Riku is here. For whatever reason, it doesn't really matter. And then more organization guys and a big darkness man show up, and lots of Heartless start to fall from the sky. And it seems like the day has been lost. But then Mr. Disney himself, Yen Sid, shows up and like parts the Heartless like Moses parting the Red Sea.
He's also like a certain other character Vanessa name dropped for this scene.
Yeah, he does a "You Shall Not Pass."
Oh, he is a Gandalf. Yeah.
Yeah,
Except
he does a
sort of
real
a
Gandalf.
reverse Gandalf because he's making
Yeah.
them a passage.
Yeah, I said
You
Moses because
shall
he's
pass.
facilitating a crossing, not preventing a crossing.
You is shall pass.
You are allowed to pass.
He does part the Red Sea. So I kind of compared to the PS2 game where they faked all the Heartless moving in a more convincing manner. Here they all have like 3 frames of animation, like all the Heartless like keep, and it's almost on purpose because the PS5 or a PS4 can definitely animate a lot more things than it does. So I was like, is this a style choice that they look so like 3-frame
I think so.
cartoony?
Which is, I think they tried to like gussy up those Heartless by putting them in the Heartless tubes and make them like a big mass of Heartless, which I think is a cool idea. But they didn't bother to give them animations when they're just Heartless.
And some
like,
of those
on the
flying
field, you know?
ones just look so bad, like the little flying gifs.
Those are bad.
Yeah. Anyway,
So you use
man.
the million keyblades of the dead keyblade graveyard to murder the darkness, and you save the day.
Yeah, like we said, Yensid shows up.
Yensid
And
shows up
then-
and is like, "You shall not pass."
And then Xehanort's there after we get through the Heartless, and all these walls pop up out of the ground.
Well,
And it's
Can
like,
I
we're
just
going
say
to fight
that-
everybody now.
Just prior to this, what I just said was probably the most frustrating thing for me in the game. Well, not the most frustrating, but in what began a series of like, oh, fuck you, is that you do that whole cool Keyblade thing, and then somebody just kind of, it's like you defeat 1 billion key darkness monsters and you save the day, and then like some guy just shows up and it's like, hey, here's more Heartless. Here's more Heartless.
And Donald and
Congratulations.
Goofy stay behind with Yen Sid to protect
Oh,
him.
that's right, yeah.
yeah, they're gone for a long time.
It just felt like everything that you just did with all of that like giant Keyblade explosion stuff was completely pointless.
That's what we call fan service.
Well, I mean, I
Not
understand that except for I had to
necessary.
play it. Like, you know, like, and it felt like a
That's good
great,
point.
it felt like a great like cap to the game, and then the game kept going.
That's true. That's true.
It
Not only
really
did the game
was-
keep going, but instantly was like, anyway. So all the Heartless are back, and you're still in the exact same position that you were a moment ago.
So now we have a series of boss fights.
Yeah,
And for the
I
sake
wanna
of time,
say-
do we need to go through all of them?
Well, I just want to talk mechanically a few points. One is it's set in a labyrinth that has branching paths. Vanessa.
Yeah.
I do
These are
love
the laziest
I think
branching
you mean
paths.
maze.
Yeah, it's a maze. It's not a labyrinth.
Labeled as a labyrinth. And you get these you get multiple choices where you get to a what do you call that, a intersection, and one goes, you could like save Mickey or you could save Riku, but it doesn't matter because it's just which one you do first. There is no
Yes.
choice here.
And so the first time it presents it to you, it's like, oh, there's Riku and there's Mickey. What are you gonna do? But then you beat, the one, and you pop out, and it's like, all right, there's Riku. Go save him now.
Yeah. And you have
And
to do an
then-
annoying
and
mini
then
game to get down the
You
hallway.
pop out, and it's like, oh, there's Aqua, and there's fucking Axel. Which one are you gonna save? Like, what are you talking
Yeah.
about? I just saw what was gonna happen. It doesn't matter.
One thing that I did think was cool is that as you're coming upon these battles, they're in progress. So the characters are fighting each other, which is kind of neat.
It's neat that they just so you don't have Donald and Goofy. So whichever room you jump into, whoever's in there joins your party and starts jumping around
Yeah.
killing everybody with you. And
Unless they get
that's
sucked into a
fucking awesome.
card. They might get
Yeah,
sucked into a card.
Mickey gets turned into a card, which is pretty funny.
I like that one because at the end, Luxord's like, maybe we'll play a real game. So, or no, Sora's like, we're both just guys, we can play a game together. He's like,
That's
yeah,
nice.
that'd be real nice because he like helps out Sora and gives him Mickey back and all that. I like that.
Which one?
Luxord, the gambler, the card guy.
Isn't that the one at the end that's Jushu?
No, that's Zigbar.
Oh boy, you're right. That is Zigbar. Sorry, got my Luxord and my Zigbar. I can't remember which one Luxord is. Sorry, that's a face blind moment. Like, what is that person?
One looks more Smash Mouthy. You know what? Actually, no.
Oh,
Master.
is it Mark McGrath with the bleached blonde hair? and
Yeah, yeah.
That's
Okay,
Sugar
Mark
Ray,
McGrath.
man. Not Smash
Sugar
Mouth.
Ray.
Come
Sugar
on.
Is the purple haired one? Is that Marluxia?
I don't
Right?
know.
I'm sorry.
But every
It's
single
just the names, they get to me.
you fight basically all the Organization 13 people here, and every time you defeat one, it interrupts the fight for a 5-minute Metal Gear style death monologue. And they regret everything they've done, and it's pretty awesome.
Most of them
one
don't
of them-
have feelings anyway. They're just nobodies.
This
I
is
actually
where
think that these are all kind of well written for
Yeah,
each of
they're
these
not bad.
characters. But again, like once you get through 2 of them, you're like, fuck you. You realize like
Yeah.
I'm gonna go through a shitload of these.
It's
You're
kind
gonna
of
do 8 of these or something. It's fucking ridiculous.
it's kind of endearing for a game in a series to care about all of its characters so much, but it's asking a lot of the players to sit through all this shit.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, the rule is 3. Don't do more than 3. And if you have
Not
all these
13.
characters, jam
Yeah.
them all in. It's fine. Like
in Xenogears, where everybody got a plot mandatory, like, plot detour moment.
how about instead of 7 fights or 8, 10 fights or whatever the fuck it is, how about 3 fights and one of them you've got Aqua and Axel and one of them you've got fucking, I don't know.
So you do
Vegeta's
fight
So-
Dark
and
Riku,
Kyrie.
and that's an important plot one because when you defeat Dark Riku, the Riku who's been living inside of Riku comes out, and then Riku and Riku form into Riku, and they're like, well, you can use this body to stay on Earth, and they're like, well, we've already got enough Rikus here on Earth, and they fly off to
And
heaven.
they're like, that body's for someone else. You
Yeah.
know who it
I
is.
I walked away. I was grabbing a drink when Jim said something about Dark Riku. Like he was like, "There's an important plot point here where Dark Riku shows up," and I mentally was like, "Nothing about Dark Riku is important to any plot."
And there is
One
a
thing I did-
flashback to Dark
one thing
Riku.
that- Oh, yeah, sorry, John, go ahead.
There's a flashback to Dark Riku protecting Namine. So you realize that I guess everything is. There's a lot of anytime there woman's involved, it's because of a crush. Like Larkseen,
Yeah.
the reason that she was doing it was because of a crush. And now Riku was protecting Namine because of a crush.
This is not
I
a
kinda
very
got-
feminist work for sure.
I kind of got blindsided a little bit here because when that lifeless husk falls on the ground and they're like, you know who this is for? I was like, oh, it's for Roxas. They've been talking
Yeah,
the
me
whole game
too.
about
Yeah.
Roxas
Getting a body
needing
for Roxas
a
and-
replica, and I was like, finally Roxas, and they're like, nominate. And I was like, what the fuck?
Well, I guess it's because they already showed the one they're going to use for Roxas at the lab, right? That's where
Yeah.
Pete Wentz.
Yeah, but there's no sense of geography for where these fucking things are. Like the lab is not in this thing. I don't know what's going on.
Well, the lab's clearly on another planet, Jim.
Well, don't you think that Roxas has always sort of been... It was like a love triangle with him and Sora and Kairi. So when Kairi
No,
birthed a
Roxas
nobody...
and Sora and Kairi.
No, not
No,
Roxas, I'm
Riku.
sorry.
Sora, Riku, and
Riku,
Riku
Sora, and Kairi. Right.
and
So
Kairi.
then...
all of these fucking groups are love triangles. All of them.
Yeah. So then...
Personally, I think the Birth by Sleep crew has the most thruple energy.
I
Like,
100%
I
believe
feel
that.
like that crew bangs.
yeah,
also-
Terra's a
Together.
real himbo that they both just kind of use.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, Lee, Roxas, and the other guy are definitely a throuple.
Right.
Right, I
but
thought
it
Lee
wasn't-
was with that
but it's
one
not,
girl.
because there's I think it's more like Lee was in a thruple with the blue-haired guy and a girl we've never seen.
That
And
brown-haired
then
girl.
he left that thruple, and then he joined the new thruple
Xian?
of Roxas, Lee,
Yeah.
and I guess who's
And
the
he
third?
was-
Oh, Namine's the third for that thruple.
But I would say that
Or is
Axel
it Xian?
or Leah Gian. Yeah,
Xian.
Gian and
Xian.
yeah, Xian. But I did like that Lee and Kyrie had a non-crush related male-female friendship. I thought that was great.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, I agree.
Lee might be a slut, but he doesn't sleep with everybody.
Yeah.
I didn't dislike as much as it was fucking weirdly jammed in, and we haven't gotten quite to it yet. But all this stuff with blue-haired guy, and then him coming back around in the end, I kind of liked.
And them eating
Like,
ice cream.
yeah, like whatever, like
I
just
like
throw
that.
him in too.
Yeah, me
Like
too.
everybody's
I like that.
happy.
Yeah,
like
I
the
like
end of
that.
this game is nice because everybody's fucking happy, except
Yeah.
Sora's dead. Spoiler alert! Let's get there. We got to get through this. We're 2
All
hours
right, so
in.
I'm just gonna skip all this Shion stuff doesn't matter? Do we need to talk about Shion?
No.
I liked her. I thought she was a cool character, except she did cry and was doing stuff because of a boy, and then Leah made her cry because she crushes on a boy. And
Yeah, the
She
most
also
important
is like
part
a
of
fucking
this.
clone of a clone, which is like, and they treat her like that. Like, you're just a
Yeah.
fucking afterthought of a person.
I
and
mean-
that's not a nice way to treat anybody.
Yeah. So the most important part of this is that this Shion facilitates Roxas's return. I like that Roxas just pops out a Sora at one point.
Yeah, he's just like, I'm here.
Yeah.
like a gremlin giving birth, or Mogwai.
Yeah. And I was reminded that Roxas uses 2 Keyblades, which is also cool.
Yeah.
I like
That's
that.
cool. You know what? This is close enough to being like a good story that I kind of like it. Even though it's not a good story and it's bad.
Listen, I'm not going to pretend that I don't get excited when characters from past games show up, because I do.
Yeah, and they're all fighting
I
together,
haven't
and
even
that's pretty
played
cool.
Birth by Sleep, but I still am interested in these fucking characters, and I'm like, yes, good for you, and your happy ending.
Well, I've played Kingdom Hearts 2, so it's neat to see Sora and Roxas fighting together. Although
I
not for very
agree.
long.
Like, Roxas coming back is kind of... I actually think Roxas returning is almost underserved because you also have Ventus come back. Ventus or Ventus?
Yeah, Ventus has a
Ventus.
bigger comeback sequence than Roxas does, which
Yeah, he
seems
does.
insane.
Roxas
I
isn't
guess,
real.
except for
I've
Birth
said
by
it before.
Sleep came out beforehand, but I agree with you 100%. Like, then Roxas
Say
comes
it
back
again.
and it's just like, cool.
Roxas
Sorry,
isn't
Vanessa.
real. He's just an imaginary boy.
He's real now.
He's not real. He's nobody.
That's true. That's true. But he's an imaginary boy that was imagined so hard that
Well, he
imagined
was
himself real. He's
He
an
was a
imaginary
nobody.
boy.
And then
They
they made a
imagine himself
data,
real.
and then they made a data Roxas so that they could preserve Sora's heart memories, guys. Come on.
And Roxas explains how
Thank you
he
for
got
demonstrating why
there
this is actually not good. And
from the past, but
Jim,
it
what the
sure...
fuck is that shirt?
My Lollapalooza.
Oh, it's Lollapalooza. See, I've only been able to see the human
Brain?
brain and the split skull.
So Roxas says he came from the past, but it doesn't really matter. Then you fight Vanitas with Ventus, and you break Vanitas's helmet, and you
Mask.
see that Sora is there, and that's pretty neat.
We
and
all
then
knew this. I thought they knew this already.
Yeah, they did, because but now Sora sees that it's Sora. Sora's never seen Vanitas's face before, I think. So now Sora's
I
like, "You're
appreciated
me."
the fact that I appreciated the fact that Vanitas was just straight up like, "Why the fuck shouldn't I look like you?" Yeah, legit. He might be my favorite character in the game. He's the one that was the most like, "Fuck all of this."
You
Fuck
would
this
love
whole
a Birth by
scene."
Sleep then.
Man, shut up! I wanted to play it. It was on the poll.
The next fight, though, has the greatest reveal in the game. Who is the Cum Guardian is a question we've been asking since 2017. We're like, what is this
That's
Cum
true. I don't
Guardian?
think we've ever-
Who is this Cum Guardian?
I don't think we've ever actually asked who the Cum Guardian
that-
is.
Because
Matt,
it's
play along with
self-explanatory.
me.
It's a guardian made of
This
cum
is a
that comes out
retcon.
of his back.
A la what Kingdom Hearts is constantly doing.
Uh-huh. So, who is the Cum Guardian?
Well, listeners know that Cum Guardian is from the boss fight in Kingdom Hearts 1 when you're fighting, I guess, Xenahort, and he
As Ansem.
as Ansem,
I should admit that we argued about this on the show and I was proven wrong.
and he shouts, "Cum Guardian," and then the Guardian comes out of his back.
I mean, it was more the way he said it.
He shouts it
Cum
over and over
Guardian.
throughout the thing. "Cum Guardian."
Guardian.
And that was
Cum
Billy
Guardian.
Zane. Let's not forget Billy
Guardian.
Zane delivered that line.
Oh, that's right. Billy Zane screaming "cum" over and over again.
"Cum Guardian."
Billy Zane, aka Luz Theron Telemon, the Dragon Reborn. You know what I mean, guys?
So,
you know what I'm talking
Tara
You're talking about
does...
Wheel of Time.
So you're
Damn.
fighting evil Terra. His hair turns white again, which shows he's bad. Evil Terra wraps everyone up in chains, just like that Shakespeare Sister song. And then Ventus says, "I kept my promise to you." And this summons the Cum Guardian, who shows up and then blasts everybody's chains off with its cum powers. And who steps out of the cum guardian after he grabs Terra? It's Terra.
So I like this. He grabs Terra's head, and then like part of the Cum Guardian's features is he has like bandages and an X over his mouth. Mm-hmm. He takes his hand and pulls the bandages down, like you know,
rips them off.
Splits them. Yeah, he rips them off, and then he's like, always said that I would make this right and protect my friends. And then you see Terra inside of the Cum Guardian.
Yeah.
So Terra's been the Cum Guardian all along?
So
I think so.
We know that Xenahort Norted Terra, but Terra, how is Terra manifesting in his weird Cum Guardian? It doesn't matter. It's fun. It's a great...
Oh, I know why. Because in Birth by Sleep, Xenahort stole Terra's body. He Norted him, and so he's using Terra's body here, but Terra's still inside of him in a way, and he's manifesting as Cum Guardian because Terra in Birth by Sleep had a lot of darkness in him, which why he was susceptible to being Norted by Xenahort.
I like the idea that Terra has been fucking playing the long game. Terra's been playing the long game and has been fighting and making Xenahort think that this is his thing for 3 games. And just now it's like, yeah, fuck you. Also, they really level up his design here. Like, he looks the same, but he also looks super buff. And it's a little different. He looks a little sharper and tougher and cool.
He's a real Hemsworth.
Yeah, he's a real Hemsworth. But then he comes out and he's Terra, and he's like, I got you. But I was real confused because I thought Terra was the knight. But you have explained to me that was his last living will and testament.
Yeah.
Which showed up in physical form to defend him somehow.
So now Terra's back. Good old Terra. And then we go to where Xenahort is, and you can tell that I was getting note fatigue here because the next note says, Xenahort shows up and says some shit about having some keys, but needing 4 more keys. Another battle with more organization, guys.
Yeah.
This is, I think, when Xenahort explains that each fight is producing a key. Like a fight, the fights between the light and the dark is producing a key, and he needs, 13, let's say.
Yeah,
13.
He has been doing what he wants all along.
The capital Keyblade.
Mm-hmm. And then he... makes the clouds that have been overhead part, and there is Kingdom Hearts, which is the moon, but it looks like a heart.
And it's
Heart moon.
This annoyed the shit out of me. Like, you don't deserve the heart moon. You've never explained it. It doesn't make sense why he's here now. You don't deserve to use it.
But it's been in 2. It's already, you didn't complain about it last time.
Well, in 2, they make a fake Kingdom Hearts with hearts. But this is real Kingdom Hearts.
I would go so far as to say that I kind of vaguely recall discussing it and arguing about this last time. Why is that Why is that moon shaped like a heart? And I feel like Vanessa gave the exact same explanation.
It's Kingdom Hearts.
Are we remember when South Park was like, The Simpsons already did it?
Yeah.
Square Roots already did it, guys.
So
that's the part of the show that we've
been doing this show for a while.
We've already done it.
So Jim wrote in his notes, we battled more organization guys, but it's like we battled like Xenahort or young Xenahort and a bunch.
Isn't there a battle that takes?
Xemnas.
Yeah, it's Ansem, right?
Yeah, it's Ansem and 2 other guys.
2 Xehanort.
Xenahort and Xemnas.
Yeah, blue-haired guy is there. This one I found this one pretty hard. But it was a cool fight. I liked it. I thought, because you get an achievement after finishing this one, I was like, I finished the game. It seemed kind of, I was like, well, it's not out in space, so is this going to be, because I feel like every Kingdom Hearts ended with a fight in space, so that's why I thought maybe it's not the real end.
Well, we've defeated everyone except for real Xenahort.
Which is
Old Man Xenahort.
Yeah.
And then Old Man Xenahort has enough keys from all of this violence, and he unlocks Kingdom Hearts, and then the Keyblade people are like, we're going to lock it up again, but first we have to get him out of here. And Sora's like, okay, I'll get him out of here. And Goofy and Donald decide to come too, and they push him through a portal to somewhere else.
Another place.
I was
No, you're
so...
back in. You're Scala ad Kylum, right?
Yeah, and I was
called
so
it in the notes the
bummed.
land of 100 Gondors because it looks like 100 Gondors.
Yeah, it's
You
kind
say
of... It's,
Skalum ad Kyla like that should mean something to me.
it doesn't.
It doesn't.
Well, Scala's from Chrono Trigger, and this is basically Zeal meets... what's that movie where you go into the dreams and fold cities?
Inception?
Yeah, it's like Inception Zeal. And I was so bummed to realize I had another city to walk around. I was legit, like, disheartened when this happened. It was, 4 a.m., trying to finish this so I can go to bed. And
4
then
a.m.
Yeah.
Well, this is like
I
the
mean, I
place...
was in a similar... Sorry, go ahead.
This is the city from the very beginning of the game where we see those boys playing chess.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
It is. And I realized when it later shows the boys playing chess again, it
Chess boys.
shows the city in the background, and that's when I realized, like, oh,
where they
this
are.
is this. Yeah.
So Xehanort's like, hey, finally we're going to have our final fight, but first fight these 12 other guys. And he
And that
summons
was
literally
obnoxious.
12 guys. They're just guys, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, I just found this
at
fight
this
really
point-
hard.
So I started getting, let's call it end of game fatigue at this point, and I was infuriated that yet another masked man had showed up. I assumed it was yet another new character. Like, I was fucking at the end of my rope at this point, which just is a prelude to how much more shit's about to happen.
So you fight all these guys. They keep like popping up like Death Stranding characters floating over the city, and you're fighting people.
Is this
and...
a game? This podcast, the podcast first Death Stranding reference?
Maybe.
No.
We'll get
Surely
Both
not.
talked about it in your level ups.
Yeah, for sure. But they're floating over the city. You fight them. It's kind of a neat place to fight because you have the whole city to fight over, a bit like the Big Hero 6 area. But
Yeah.
the city's really empty. There's not. I don't even know if there's like chests to find or anything.
No,
I didn't
well, I
find
don't know
very
either.
many, I
didn't-
don't think. I looked for a couple.
I took a little time to poke around, but I did not see a fucking thing.
Me either.
You can break barrels and stuff, but that seemed to be it.
Yeah.
And even those did not seem to have ingredients or anything cool in them. Just
So you
focus
defeat the 12 guys, and then Master Xehanort's like, haha, you fools. You transported me to the place where I have the most power because it's like a nexus of all the worlds. And he like slurps up some energy, glug, 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 and then puts all the Xehanorts on himself into a suit of armor that you have to break off.
It's like Doctor Strange in the Mirror Universe, and it's so much so that Xenahort starts flipping the city upside down and things like
Yeah.
that. And
bubbles. Yeah. And that did feel very much like that.
yeah,
And their underwater fight too.
yes,
like
at
that.
one point
Yeah.
you fall
Yeah,
underwater and you have to
I
fight
don't
him
know if it's true
underwater.
I don't know if everybody had this experience, but I ended the fight underwater and thought that was very
I think I did
weird.
too.
It
Yeah.
was just, like, was that the end of the fight, or were
No,
there
I don't think I
cycles?
was
don't know.
underwater. I think I ended it above water again.
Yeah.
really?
There's a third part for me where I had to.
Oh, maybe so.
Yeah.
I liked this. I found this was kind of challenging for me. I don't think I died here, but I remember using cures.
I died like 10 times.
No, no.
But it does let you every phase of the battle is a checkpoint, which is amazing.
Oh,
Thank
that's
you.
really
nice.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
That
that's
sucks
super nice.
though, because early in the game, I died and did not think. I thought this game did not have a checkpoint system.
It does. Even in this so this is the first phase of Xenahort. In the next phase of Xenahort, I died a bunch of times, and it restarted me at the beginning of like the phase within the phase, which
Yeah,
because I
that's
kept
awesome.
failing at a certain phase, and
Yeah,
it was
same
very
here.
helpful to not have to do
And
that
you
whole
could
thing
go
again.
back and equip high potions on
played the end of
everybody.
this game.
Yeah.
I played a lot of the end of this game in bed, just like not paying attention. I really thought this game was stupid easy. Like, I guess I just overleveled.
Yeah,
but I
you
didn't-
played way
didn't
more
really
than I
think
did.
about it, but like, I legitimately was like, fucking, just all I have to do is smash A and like tilt the fucking.
Yeah.
controller
Well, like you
stick.
were out
I can just lay in
emblem
bed.
hunting.
Yeah, I did. I found a lot of shit, so I guess I did level up a ton. I did well, like I guess I wasn't grinding. I was just playing it, but
Yeah. So you fight Xehanort again, and he like you go on these like sigils that rise over the city. So I was like, okay, this is a final fight. You're fighting on a sigil. It's floating in the air. It
He has
feels
kind of
real.
a cool, he has a cool move where he like opens a key-shaped hole in reality and like teleports out of it.
Yeah.
So he's like using the power of the Keyblade in the battle, which I thought was neat.
And you have to dodge. That's where the game's like, just block if you see that. And I was like, fuck you, I can't.
I did a lot of double jumping and gliding around in this part of the fight.
Mm-hmm.
So
When they were just like when he was like teleporting around and like just launching attacks, I was like, oh, I'll just hang out up here in the air.
that's what I did too. The thing that really tripped me up in this last part of this fight was when he turns you into like Rage Sora, and you have to basically just stay away from him until the phase is over because you can't deal any damage to him.
Oh, that sucked.
And
Actually,
like the old
not true. When he turns you into Rage Sora, the point is to get all your health back from him. To turn back. That's how you turn back to normal Sora. So you have to not. The only thing is you can't heal yourself. You don't have access to items or magic. So you have. That's where I died so many times, was getting turned into that.
So I thought it was just you had to like wait a certain amount of time until the reaction command popped up. Because eventually a reaction command, because eventually a reaction command pops up for you to turn back into regular
For me,
Sora.
it popped up as soon as I filled my life gauge from hitting him.
Maybe that's what triggers it. Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't put that together.
Yeah.
I didn't notice any of this. Like, I just attacked him in rage form, and I felt like I was beating the shit out of him in rage form. And I was, like, laughing about it. I was like, wow, this was a huge mistake for you.
Yeah.
I even used the risk change and got myself down to, like, a quarter health because I was just fucking beating him around the stage.
And then Sora's like, well, I'm going to use my key to lock you up now. But then he's like, no, I'm going to use my key to lock you up now.
Yeah, he pulls the capital key keyblade out.
Yeah.
And discusses
then, by the
his
way,
plan.
it's a decent design. It looks like it's two of the classic keyblade, the original keyblade, kind of crossed, and then the hilt is the crossed part.
The
middle.
ergonomics look
and
crappy.
It's got like it looks like a Halo sword. It looks like a Halo sword, but the hilt is two crossed keyblades. It's cool.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
And Xenahort's like, here's what I'm going to do.
They don't use it to like cut anything, so I don't know what it's for.
Well, the Keyblades never look like they can cut things, but they apparently can.
Yeah,
so
they always do. Remember Sora's cutting like entire buildings in half at the end of it too.
That's right.
Xenanort's like, my whole plan, here it is. I am going to reset this video game, basically.
Yep.
He doesn't like the world. He thinks it sucks, and so he's going to do a hard reset. Just a reboot.
Isn't this every Final Fantasy villain's thing?
And unfortunately, it's a really boring and shitty, in my opinion. Like, it's a really boring and shitty.
I agree, but I think this is like, because Xehanort's always been like kind of the laughing, cackly, evil guy. This gives him a little bit of pathos, I think. Like, you kind of feel for him a little bit because he's trying to do good stuff.
I definitely
but he's going about it the wrong way.
Necessarily disagree with the idea of exploding everything to reset it all to nothing. You know?
Oh, accelerationist.
Like, he's not doing it out of
no,
malice. He's doing it because he believes it's the right thing for everybody.
No, look, I'm not talking about like terrorism. I'm just saying that if there was a button I could hit to reset reality, maybe I would. You know?
So,
maybe I would. Would you? Think about it. Think about it in those terms.
So then
quickly.
Sora feels a hand on his shoulder. It's Goofy. Goofy's there to help him with his blast. And then Donald as well. And they do a Trinity attack. And this pushes him back. And then all your friends bathed in light show up. And they're
so excited when Donald and Goofy showed up. Like, they're the best characters in these games.
And then
they have more personality than any of these anime people.
And then Terra shows up, and he pops out a little light globe, and out of this light globe emerges Ericus. And you got to cut back to Ericus and Xenahort as children playing chess, and then they seem like friends and be having a good time.
Chess. Hey guys, guess who voices Ericus?
Mark Hamill.
Mark fucking Hamill.
Yeah, it is Mark Hamill. You can tell.
That was a pretty good guess.
Yeah.
This, by the way, is not chess. The board is all of the squares are diagonal to each other, not facing each other, and also half of the squares are raised.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that there's only 7 light pieces and 13 dark pieces.
Also, it's very clearly not like a game that they play, because midway through this game, the black side won and like killed all the players on the board and checkmated the king, and he just picked his piece up and put it back on the board and was like, guess what? I got all my pieces back!
Yeah.
That's not how games work.
EverQuest seems to
Okay,
make
they're
up the
playing Calvin
rules as they
chess.
go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It is definitely Calvin chess.
So these
Calvin
guys are
chess
like
sounds way better than chess.
for sure in love, right? Like this is
Yeah.
another,
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
definitely a romance.
yeah. Because
Oh, I don't know. Maybe it's probably not. Like, let's be real.
It's not.
I think that heterosexual male friendship is valid and should be celebrated, and I think that 2 hot dudes making out with each other is valid and should be celebrated.
And
Yeah.
2 not hot dudes. Everyone's valid and should make out with each other.
Fine.
Yeah, why does only hot people get to make out?
Yeah,
I'm not
exactly.
hot.
That's what I want.
I will admit this on the
Let
show,
me
even though it's a
objectify
podcast.
I like
people.
smooching.
And none of you have ever met me in person.
Yeah.
It's true.
Listeners, I'm going to admit it. I'm not hot. I'm just not. I'm just a guy. I'm a guy.
Honestly, I'm going to disagree with Matt on that one.
Shut
Sorry.
up. I love it when he says this to me, though. It really makes me feel good.
If we've
Anyway.
learned anything from the prominence and vocality of the bear community, it's that somebody will find you hot,
It's true.
no matter
Moving
what.
on. Yeah.
I
So,
don't want to move on. I want to talk about cute guys making out.
no, I want to finish this so I can go.
And what about Pippin and Mary, though? That's gonna, you know.
My daughter borrowed some manga from her friend. It was like 5 volumes. I don't know what the book was, but it was definitely Gay Boys, the manga. Boys being in a relationship.
Boy love manga, yeah.
Boy love. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like she was interested in it, and I was like, fucking.
Yeah.
My daughter's a teenager, baby. Anything that gets her to read. Anything. She can
And
read
yeah,
fucking,
those
she can
things
read the
are-
Satanic Bible
are
for all
like
I care. Read
they're
anything
like-
you want to read.
They're not that horny. They're more like gentle romances. They're fine.
Yeah, I actually, I have read, prior to her reading this, I've read, so I was not upset by it, whatever. I've read that, I've heard that, that for young girls, it's helpful to read stuff like that in like discovering, learning about themselves, to see a relationship either way, gay,
Sure.
that's
Well, I
on
think
equal
that-
footing and that does not have the male-female dynamic.
Right. That's what I have read as well. That the
So I was kind of into it when she showed me that she was reading them. I was like, yeah, great.
Yeah.
That seems like a good thing for you to read.
it removes like the self-insertion element from it. Like, so you're not comparing yourself to the female
interesting.
protagonist or something like that.
Yeah, I mean it's a relationship that has
you
a
get to choose who you identify with from a
different
dynamic
power
standpoint.
dynamic. That's what I read. It's all about the power dynamics and of same-sex relationships versus. Anyway, you know what? What do I know? Nothing.
Xenahort gives the chief.
I know that John's pulled his sleeves up, which I think means that he's going to beat us up if we do
No,
not
it's so
finish
Matt.
this.
It's so hot. It's so hot in my apartment. I don't want to run the AC because it's
John,
really loud.
how hot is it in
It's
the
not-
Vancouver area right
It's
now?
not that bad.
He has his AC off because we're recording, so it's hot as shit. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I've been running a little fan through this whole recording, so good luck.
Yeah, temperature wise, it's not that bad
not good luck.
outside, but
Clean your
inside,
track up.
the sun bakes this place.
It's not showing up on my track. I checked. It doesn't
Bunch
make
of
the
fucking
little
adults.
bloopy boop go bloop boop.
Everything that you all do annoys me, but my vaping is fine.
So
What were we talking
Rutger
about?
Hauer's
Boy
like,
love.
or slash Werner Herzog's like, Sora,
It's
you should
guy
take.
love,
You
but
should take
we
this keyblade
two
because you have
guys.
earned it. It is the master Xenahort
Oh, that's right.
keyblade, and you
Yeah,
will
he
love
does.
it.
Stop doing that. That's not
Yeah,
what he
this
sounds
is-
like. It's so much fucking worse than that. It's that without the German accent and with fucking
Rutger Hauer. I definitely heard his German accent. I was like, is that? That's why I thought it was Christoph Waltz for a bit.
Interesting. I did not detect the German accent, but I would not disagree with you. I'm sure you're right. I just didn't.
Now that you say it's because I was under the impression it was Christopher Lloyd, and I was like, man, did they like do something to his voice? It didn't really sound like Christopher Lloyd. Now that I know it's Rutger Hauer, definitely sounds like Rutger Hauer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Sora uses that blade. He reseals Kingdom Hearts, which again we should note is a big like heart-shaped heart in the sky. It's a real dumb.
All that Xenahort needed all along was just his friend.
Yeah, / boyfriend. Riku says they should go find Kairi, and Sora says he knows what to do. Oh, isn't that right at the end? Oh, no, you're right. Yeah, no, this happens now. He says he knows what to do, but he has to go alone, even though Donald and Goofy really want to go with him. He's like, no, I got to do this by myself to use the power of waking. And Mickey's like, well, you might not come back. And Sora says...
This pissed me off. It wasn't that. Mickey was like, the power of waking shouldn't just be used to fucking... teleport around willy-nilly, which fucking made me want to scream. Like, hey, that's all you do, motherfucker. He's a real Professor X, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's a real fucking hypocrite in this series.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so I did put this in the notes because, like, it doesn't technically happen in this chunker. It's introduced in Remind, but Chereth tells you at the beginning of Remind that if Sora chooses to use his power to like bring somebody back into existence that's been faded out of existence, he is violating like the natural order of the universe, and that if he does it and it works, he'll be banished from this plane of existence forever.
And
which is what sets up Kingdom Hearts 4.
Yeah, and there's I guess one of the Organization 13 guys is like, you're not gonna be in this world much longer. And it first seems like a threat, but he's actually telling him what's gonna happen. And I like that. That was a fun little foreshadowing.
Yeah, and it makes me feel like they actually wrote the DLC alongside this.
Yeah, I think they did.
Good. Yeah. So go ahead, John.
Okay, is it okay if I just really rush through this?
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
I can go? Okay, so Sora says to believe him and that he'll be back soon enough to hang out and have fun, and then he goes in a beam of light away. Cut to everyone having fun without him. Disney Castle, they open up the parking garage from Kingdom Hearts 2, and then at the Radiant Garden, they're honoring Araquas. Roxas, Xion, and Lee are eating ice cream again, but then blue-haired guy with the X scar shows up too, and then has some ice cream as well. Yay, he's not dead.
And also, your friends from Twilight Town.
Yeah, those 3 kids show up.
What are their names?
Oh,
Hainer, Pence, and Olette.
Right, Hainer, Pence, and Olette.
At Dock Street, yeah. Naminé is restored, and she gets into a gummy ship with Riku. It's definitely Riku. That was 100% Riku that she gets into the gummy ship with.
There's so many Rikus.
There at one point, like a shadow falls over Roxas. Roxas, Xion, and Lee eating their ice cream, and
by the way,
I guess it was that gummy ship. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it's the gummy ship flying by, being like, come on.
When blue-haired guy, whose name I cannot recall, shows up at the end of this game a moment ago, I don't think he has the X on his face anymore.
Does he not?
I don't think he does, but I could be wrong.
His name is Sayx, by the way.
No, that's not his name.
Sayx.
That's not his name. But also,
I made that joke last season.
His costume at the end of the game, is very much like everybody else's, but is like camo instead of like red or blue or green.
Oh, sweet. He's wearing streetwear now.
Super fucking cool.
I got some camo
honestly,
cargo
I'm happy
shorts
to see
from Walmart.
any of these people out of these stupid fucking coats, because those things look bad, and they've always looked bad, and stop it. Kingdom Hearts, stop it.
They're not going anywhere. I mean, you see some of those in the Kingdom Hearts 4 trailer. So.
Cut to Destiny Island. Everyone's playing games on the beach. And then cut to Sora and Kairi sitting on that palm tree together where they shared the papu fruit. I have a question here. Didn't Kairi Isn't she gone? Why is she here in this cutscene?
She's not. It's just Riku imagining them. Because Riku's like playing with Mickey, and then
But
he's
Sora-
like looking
but
at the
Sora
tree.
disappears, but not Kairi.
Riku imagines them sitting, and then he imagines the imaginary Kairi witnessing Sora fade from existence and crying.
Yes.
That
Doesn't
can't
make
be
any
the case.
sense.
None of it makes sense, but what are you gonna do?
Cut to 1 billion credits. There's
So many credits.
Nominations restored.
thousands of
We talked
people.
about that.
Yeah. Then
I was
after you
excited.
go
Fuck you
through
guys.
the
I played Chain Memories. Nominee is.
Oh yeah, you did play Chain of Memories.
You guys are all like fucking Nominee. I hate everything
The
about her.
one
I'm
among
like,
us.
I love
I
Nominee.
like
Never said
Nominee.
a word
Bring
against
me more
Nominee.
Nominee, please. She's the
we
best.
like no. You know what? I think Xian is my favorite. She's real cool. I think if Greg Bailey redid the Kingdom Hearts Keel Wielder best of
Oh, yeah,
rank
you should've
list.
waited until we finished. The
Yeah,
series
because I would now
I didn't know
vote for
who any of
Xion.
these people were at the time, but now I do.
Yep. There's billion credits. Thousands of people worked on this game. It's a huge endeavor. Then there's an epilogue after.
Oh, I'm
with-
so excited for this twist ending. I never would have guessed it.
Me either.
So
Can I say what
Zigbar shows
happens?
up. Oh yeah, you say it.
So, there's like Zigbar is there, and he summons
A
these
sword falls
hooded-
out of the sky.
No, it's not Zigbar. A man in a fucking black coat.
Yeah, he's like looking at something, and it's like first person hooded cloak guy, and then
You don't see his face for quite some time.
You see a
Yeah,
sword
and
fall
they're
from
like,
the
"Here's
sky.
the box," and
Well, no, the sword falls first.
Oh, yeah.
Like John said, the keyblade falls first, and this is
Guys,
a very
stop
special keyblade.
mansplaining to Vanessa how the end of this thing goes. Vanessa, please
Hold
tell
on,
us what happens.
I just have to. No, I have to say, this is
Okay,
a very
that's
special
unacceptable.
keyblade.
Vanessa, please get your locker out and shove Jim in it so that you may finish.
tell us about the very special Keyblade.
This is the keyblade. It's called No Name.
I'm cutting everything you
And
say. You
it
might as well
has
not talk
been-
because nothing you say will be of record.
It has been passed down
I
by the
have the
Master
power.
of Masters. Has been passed down by the Master of Masters
fuck, I tried.
to witness all these different events. So there's a Master of Masters that they kind of install as like this like puppet master guy. So there's gonna be more stuff with him.
Master of Masters is pulling the string.
Well, and
And
they're
like-
also
and like
like,
you-
Master
th-
of Puppets.
they're
Yeah,
hanging
sorry,
out with
Vanessa.
this little box, which Pete and Maleficent have been
Sorry,
looking
why
for.
did I
And
correct you?
Maleficent had explained
Stupid.
that after the final battle, no matter who wins, the little box is going to be there.
And that's the box that Pete and Maleficent were looking for.
Yes.
That's right.
I actually kind of liked this. Like, I love them, and I wish they were in the game more, but I kind of liked the fact that they just poked around in the corners of the game, and then at the end of the game, they were like, oh, that's what we're looking for. Because to me, that is a very, Avengers Infinity War moment of, look out, here comes Kingdom Hearts 4, where Maleficent gets her hand on the Infinity Box and deletes half of
I hope
existence
she's
or
a
some
good
shit.
guy, and you play with
And
Pete.
then, boy, that would be amazing.
Well, it's at
Legitimately.
this point that Zigbar reveals himself. Zigbar, of course, is gun guy from
They're
Organization
like,
13.
Mushu, is this you?
Yeah, and he's
And
like,
so you're like,
well-
so great, another new stupid character.
Who says
And he
that but
takes his
Furry
stupid head-
Force 4?
yeah, he summons Furry Force 4, which are four
Yeah, that's
people
right.
dressed in furry masks. and
Unicorn
they're
head.
like,
Yeah,
Cool.
Unicorn
Let's name
Man,
them. Unicorn head.
Tiger.
Cat
Leopard
head.
head.
yeah,
Yeah.
bear head?
Dolphin head?
I don't know.
I know it's not a dolphin. Buffalo.
Sin the whale head.
Yeah.
No, it's the other ones are one might be a bear and like a mouse. They're kind of
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mouse.
that sounds right. That sounds right.
Mouse.
Yeah. So they appear and they're like, oh my god, it's you, Luxu. And he's like, it's me, Luxu. I've been pretending to be Zigbar all along.
Oh
And
my
they're like,
God.
wow, oh
He's
my
like,
god,
I had a
Luxu.
role to play. And they're like, what was that role? And he's like, don't worry about it because it didn't fucking matter. It didn't matter. So they're like, but this, my assumption is the guy that made this game is just fucking so into this shitty character that he's like, this is the guy that's going to be the big bad for the next
Yeah,
game.
it turns out I was not dead, and I wasn't Zigbar, I'm
FYI,
Luxu.
guy that made these games, nobody fucking cares. Nobody on Earth gives a shit about these people.
Jim, do you give a shit about Luxu?
Not one human.
Or Furry Force 4.
No, I don't care about Luxu. I
Jim,
care about Luxu more
has-
than I care about Zigbar, though.
Has Furry Force 4 shown up in other games?
They are from the mobile
they're pulled
game.
from the lore of the mobile game. These are the foretellers, of which there were 14 of them who worked for the Master of Masters. Luxu was number 6.
Oh, okay.
Obviously, everyone knows that.
I think I
Yeah,
recognized them from scrolling through the App Store.
I recognize them from Greg Bailey's Keyblade Wielder tournament. And if you'd like to participate in those tournaments, go to our Facebook page. One of our listeners puts them together. We have nothing to do with it. And I often am very angry about the results. For example, Roxas made it to the finals. He's not even real. Screw that guy.
All right, well,
Secret
that's the end
video.
of the game.
You guys want to talk about
Good
that?
night. See you guys
Secret-
later.
What is the
Secret
secret
video.
video? What are you talking about?
Oh boy. I'm going to have to leave for secret video, but I
Okay.
just want to say, what a reveal. What
Yeah.
a reveal.
John, would you like to quickly give us your squealer against?
I'm roundly for the fact that Pete and Maleficent keep showing up for literally no reason in this game. Maybe it's something for Kingdom Hearts 4. I just think it's hilarious that they have absolutely nothing to do
Yeah.
with the plot of this game. I think that's great. And that's my squarely against. Bye, everyone. Bye, listeners. I love you.
Bye, John.
Hi, Johnny.
John, you're supposed to review the game and you're squarely against, so I'm going to need you to redo that.
Oh, game. Sorry. I'm roundly against or square. No, I'm squarely for. Like kind of middling. It was fine. It's not as good as Kingdom Hearts 2, which I thought was actually very good. But there's some good levels. It was fine. It wasn't bad. I like
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VII Remake better, but it's a different game. All right, bye everyone. Love you.
Bye, John.
I might keep
John,
listening,
I
but
have
mute
one
myself.
more question for you about this game.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
Oh, okay. But I'm gonna keep. I will be muted, but I'm gonna keep listening to you while I shower.
All right.
Okay.
But please don't do that.
Okay, fine.
You can do
Bye.
it, but just close your door.
Yeah, I'm kidding.
Bye.
Bye. Secret video.
What
Yeah,
is the
secret
secret
video.
video?
Sora, it shows Sora waking up in
This is
the
a post-credit
Shibuya
scene.
from...
You could
Yeah,
also
it's like-
refer to this as a Jim.
Epilogue?
Thank you.
It's like epilogue part.
It's an epilogue.
But we find Sora wakes up in a puddle. He's in the Shibuya, Japan from The World Ends With You, another Square Enix RPG.
I don't know that that's true. Prove that.
It
What are
is
you talking
true.
about?
It is true because in the Shibuya of that world, there's a specific number painted on the side of a building that's a different number than in real life, and it's that same number in this secret video.
Okay, number one, stop calling it a secret video.
It's the secret
This is
video.
not a secret video. This is a fucking after credit scene.
What makes it secret? Do you have
The
to
fact, that you
unlock
have to
it?
sit, the fact that you have to sit through all the fucking credits.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
so
like
it's
if you
an
skip the
after-
credits, you don't get to see it?
I don't know. That's just what they call it on the internet.
Okay, stop. But that's fine, but stop calling it that.
Okay, so in the next part of the secret video, we see Sora. So after Sora, we cut to Riku, and there's a person watching Riku from atop a big tower, and it's Yuzora, the protagonist from Virum Rex from the Kingdom Hearts world.
Hell yeah. I was super into that stupid game. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't want to live in it, but like, it was cool. And I like this. Bring more of this into it.
So according to the wiki that I was reading, it says it is evocative of Nomura's vision for that game before it was amalgamated into the Final Fantasy 15 we know now.
What?
So basically, I think it's saying that like Virum Rex is like a alternate version of the characters from 15.
By
and
the
so-
way,
and then we
were there
see-
any Final Fantasy characters in this game?
No.
No,
Not one?
not one.
Nope, not one.
There was
No,
Moogles.
Sid- There, yeah.
Were
No,
there?
but like
Where there were
no,
Moogles?
There was
oh,
a
the Moogle shop.
There's a Cactuar neon sign. in the Toy Box world.
Andy has a
that's not
pinup of a
what I asked
cactuar
you.
on his bulletin board.
Yeah.
Weird. Bring on Kingdom Hearts 4.
So, and then we see the Master of Masters on a rooftop, and he's making a box with a heart gesture in his hands. This box of prophecies or whatever has been hinted at a lot. And then we see Zigbar again.
You mean Luxu?
So, yeah, we see Luxu again. So this kind of leaves off with Sora in World Ends With You world, which a lot of fans interpret as the next Kingdom Hearts has you traveling to different Final Fantasy worlds. But I think that's kind of a stretch, but we'll see.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind going to Final Fantasy X world.
Yeah, I think 9 and 10 would be cool.
12, maybe?
6 would be pretty cool.
Oh, I mean, that would be...
Although it's kind of depressing.
They're never going to bring 6 into there. I would love it. I would lose my flippin' mind if they brought some Final Fantasy 6 characters into this world, but it's not going to happen.
Yeah, you're probably
They'll
right.
send you to Cloud World, and they'll be like, oh my god, it's
Oh, yeah,
Cloud
they'll reuse
World.
assets from those remakes and make you go to Midgar or some shit. Mm-hmm. That's true. You probably won't go to 8. I would bet 10's a good one. I could see them doing 13 just as Square seems to like it more than the fans do.
But I want
But
to
who
go to
knows?
Disney Worlds. Meh.
Yeah, we'll see. But according to the synopsis for Kingdom Hearts 4, that one's going to have like Sora in kind of like an alternate version of the real world, and Goofy and Donald are actually looking for him.
I don't think that anything that we've heard about Kingdom Hearts 4 is going to be accurate. That
I
sounds
think you're right.
fucking absurd.
It's all
and
speculation.
I 100% guarantee you that Sora will pop out of whatever the fucking world he's in and then go on an adventure through a bunch of Disney worlds.
I think you're right,
that's
because
what the Kingdom Hearts series is.
like Nomura has already said publicly that he believes, because like in this Kingdom Hearts 4 trailer, he looks like they make him look more lifelike, like an actual person does.
But he might also just look
and-
older.
Well, no, that like he said that was a decision, and that if he were to leave this universe and go back to his original universe, he would then look like classic Sora again.
Okay, so it's what he's saying is it's like Donald's magic isn't there, but it's the same thing. He looks like the world he's in.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
So when he's in human world, he looks like a human, even though he's not a human. He's got giant cartoon feet.
He has normal feet in the Kingdom Hearts 4 trailer.
Yeah, because he's in a human world.
People were all freaked out about his normal sized feet.
People are weird and also come up with a lot of stupid fucking ideas that will never happen in the real world.
Sora's barefoot in the trailer. You
can't-
can see his actual feet, bro.
I can't wait to play Kingdom Hearts 4 where we get to go through Red Panda World, Marvel World, Star
Marvel
Wars
World with all the Marvel
Yep,
characters.
Star Wars World with all the Star Wars characters.
Moana World?
Pirates World again.
Just
Moana would be a good one.
Oh, Moana World, yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
It would be cool if you got an
What
Inside
was
Out version that
the
take place inside of
Encanto
Sora.
World?
ooh, Inside Out World.
Oh,
would be
Inside Out actually would
fun.
be perfect for Inside Out. Actually, like I think a lot of those like that I mentioned would actually not make great worlds because it's a little. I mean, it's kind of like this one. Like you do a bunch of worlds where you're just a dude. It's not as fun. But
And Donald could be anger,
yeah, Inside Out
Yeah.
World would be.
and Goofy would be
Perfect for-
joy, and
Oh my god. I feel joy thinking about that. Goofy is joy?
I'd like to see an Encanto World as well.
I would
with
love
romanceable
to see.
Bruno.
Yeah. Yep. I hope they add romance options into the next Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, I want romance Bruno. He's a
That's my
weird little
fondest
guy
desire.
who lives in the walls. He's my dream man.
Anyway, we finished Kingdom Hearts 3. Now, usually next time on, we have to, like, give a thing, but we can't because the vote's not over. So, we'll post it with the episode.
I will say that I think if Stick of Truth wins, we could do it in 3 episodes.
Great.
So be a short one.
Sounds like a great use of our time.
And that's not a big if because it's looking likely.
I know.
Yeah.
I don't want to complain about it because if I don't want to. In fact, I'm going to cut all this. I don't want to complain about it. Let's just. Next time on, we don't know, Bullshit Minigame Corner, John's dead. Hey guys, who wants to talk about what they're squarely against?
I do.
I'll go. Yeah, I'll go first. I will say that I'm roundly for this game. My first playthrough, I did not like
Vanessa.
it. Bounced off it real
I would
hard.
like for you to have gone first, but.
But this playthrough, I really liked it, and I enjoyed my time with the game, even though I did have to rewatch all the end cutscenes because I could not help but skip them automatically in my playthrough.
I'm glad you liked it more this time. That's
Yeah.
good. You know?
Yeah. Vanessa, what do you think about this game?
I liked it. I had fun playing it. I feel like it was one world too short. Like, just throw me one more world, pull from the classic Disney canon of something. Like, it just felt like it was missing that sort of nostalgia factor, I guess, because it focused so much on new properties. Hercules was as old as it gets, and to me, that's not very old.
Yeah, that's true.
Matt, what do you think?
I'm roundly for this game. I think that I thought it was super fun. I came at it with a different perspective. I think that expectations matter with something like this. You know, the people that picked it up day one after 15 years of waiting are going to have wildly different expectations. But for what it is, I enjoy the shit out of this game. But also, too many cutscenes, too much nonsense, too many word salads. Could not honestly tell you what happened in like terms a human could understand.
Yeah,
You know,
I think
terms
the game
that
could
somebody that is not a nerd could understand. I couldn't explain it to my grandmother. You know,
This
It's
game
nonsense.
could have done with turning those cutscenes into just like little playable things where I read text out of a text bubble that I'm talking to somebody. That would have made me feel like I was actually playing the game. But in the last few hours, I feel like I played like 25%, and the other 75%. The other 75% was
the game played
cutscenes.
itself, and it also talked to itself a lot, I guess, or talked to its diehard fans only a lot. It was weird, but overall, like, I enjoyed it. I put 50 hours into this game. John did it in 30 hours, so clearly I liked it so much I put an additional 20 hours into it. So how can I complain, you know? The gameplay loop in a game is the most important thing, and the gameplay loop in this game is fucking fantastic. I could not get enough. I kept going back for more. I loved it, so...
Good.
I guess that's it.
Vanessa, I think we do have an email, right?
Oh, yes, we do.
No, we don't.
We do.
No, we don't.
We do, and it must be read. Ahem. Hey, y'all! With all the talk about what if they did a labyrinth world for Kingdom Hearts, what do you think the Keyblade you get from the labyrinth world would be like? What would it
David
look
Bowie's
like?
dick.
And what would its other forms and powers be? Also, who would be your world champion? My choice would be Didymus. Love the show. Brian Davis.
I'm gonna be honest, guys. I've only seen Labyrinth like twice.
Wow, get out. Get out of here now.
Yeah,
Get
it was
good
not
news.
something that was commonly
The
played
fuck
in my
out.
house as a kid.
You're evicted from the Square Roots house.
You suck. Jalen should be watching that every week at this point
Yeah, I
in her
agree.
maturity.
I mean, assuming that she's straight.
Doesn't matter. She can. What's her name
matter.
is in it?
Yeah, what's her name? Fucking...
What's her name? Who everyone loves.
La 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 La. She's got 3 names.
Yeah.
3 names McGee.
Jennifer
Yeah.
something
Lopez.
something.
Yeah.
No, you know.
Yep. I know.
Jennifer
Conley.
Conley.
That's not 3 names.
Yeah, you're right. It's just Jennifer Connelly.
Wife of
Connelly.
what's his name? Who plays the Vision?
Jennifer Connelly, who in this movie, we grew. Some of us may have grown up with it, so I understand that it's hard to separate.
Oh,
but
3 names. You mean Sarah Michelle Gellar?
Jennifer Connelly in this movie,
Jamie Lee
too
Curtis.
young for an adult to rewatch and be like, "What's up, hot stuff?" Instead,
Yes.
it's like, "What's up?" Oh no,
She was like actually 16 or something. When
Yeah,
they made
what's
it.
up? What's up, kid?
she's a child. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. Is I can rewatch Barbed Wire, and Pam Anderson always looks the same. That was a joke. Okay.
So what do you guys think? What would the Keyblade be for Labyrinth World?
Oh, I've got a response to that. I think it would be the Fall Apart puppet Muppets, the red ones that their heads came off and they
A
sang the
fiery?
song.
One of the fire
Yeah,
gang?
I think it would be all their parts. I think like the arms, like like an arms would be the blade and the head would be the top, and I don't know, some feet would be the bottom, and it would probably come apart as a second form and turn into like a bunch of them.
I think I would want it to look like the door knockers, like at the base of it. So with one knocker on one side and one knocker on the other side. And then the dangly knocker part.
Knockers.
And then the blade part itself would be carved up
Hey,
like a
Jim.
maze.
Knockers?
Knockers.
I love those beautiful big knockers. And for its
This episode's gone on too long. I went from sober to drunk. I got bad news, guys.
for its spell, it can shoot out little circle orbs. Circle orbs.
Circle orbs.
And I'd want my companion to be Bluto.
Of
Hell
course.
yeah.
What other companion would you pick?
Didymus, apparently.
Bluto?
Maybe
Oh,
that
yeah,
worm.
Didymus.
The worm that says hello. Hello, worm.
Oh,
Everyone's favorite
I didn't name a
hello worm.
companion. Well, I would not choose Bluto. I would choose the night guy and his dog. That would be super fun.
Didymus.
That's 2 companions. Sorry, can't allow it.
No, it's a mount. Mounts
Didymus
count.
and
Also,
Ambrosia.
FYI, 2 companions is Kingdom Hearts 3, so it does count.
That's true. That's true.
Maybe you
In
could
fact, if
have the whole
anything,
gang.
We would pick Bluto and Didymus.
And Hoggle.
And Hoggle. No, Hoggle's a summon. Oh my god.
What would he do? Just pee on people?
No, he would like.
You
feed-
guys just spent a
He would
whole
feed
episode
the
talking
enemies
about these
poisoned
names are dumb.
apples.
Flippity Flam, Zig Bar, Marluxia, ha ha ha. And now it's like Didymus, Bluto. Like these are
Bluto's
totally normal.
Bluto's a pretty okay name. And you know what? Didymus, I didn't know that one. That's all
Rock's
that's-
friends.
All right. Well, that's it for this episode of Square Roots.
Yes?
We should have said this
No,
at the
no,
top,
no. We haven't even talked about Remind yet. We got to cover that whole thing.
but I don't know shit about Remind. I know shit about Kingdom Hearts 4 trailer. Is that what you're talking about?
He's
No.
talking about the DLC. I won't do it.
Yeah,
don't know
we played
anything about
we
the
all
DLC.
played the DLC.
I did not do that.
Nope.
I was.
I'm gonna be real
Powerwashing.
with you guys. At the beginning of the episode, I was like, "It would be funny. We'll all watch the Kingdom Hearts 4 trailer together." We've been recording for 2.5 hours, so
Yeah, we timed out of that.
Yeah, we lost Johnny.
John's
Patreon. The vote is still going for what we play next. We don't know what
no,
it's
it's
going to
not.
be.
It's over.
Oh,
the
it's
time this
over
releases,
by
it'll
the
be
time
over,
this
but what-
releases.
But if the game that we expect
Don't-
to
I don't
win
wanna- don't complain
wins,
about it.
we'll
We don't
have
wanna
another
complain about
one very soon.
Yeah, very, very soon.
Mhm.
If you donate at the $5 or above level, you can vote on the game we play next. If you donate at the $3 or above level, you can access all our bonus content. Look forward to our bonus episode this month about Beyond Two Souls. the game that all of us are so excited to play. None of us have started it yet. And if you donate at the $1 or above level, we will read your name at the end of the show. Not at the end of every episode, because we are so blessed to have so many of you to read. But we will read some of those names, and some of those names go like this. Matt Newlin, Ron, Florian Jonas Kramer, Gage Lacherte, Saving Sid's Nuts, Huxley Iguana, Matthew Casterline. Seattle Sounders are soccer champions from Alaska to Trinidad. Heck yeah! Andy M, Wedge Coon, Brian Pitt, friend of DeSoto, Aaron O'Toole, Vanessa's mom's cousin's former roommate, Robert M. Pullum, Tom, and Jeffrey Scheffler.
And I would like to thank Sean Gonzalez, Sergeant Spaghetti, Fresh Eyes, James, Andy Best, Armin Hammer, Jim, oh my god, did you see Ben's hat? Eric Garb, Justin Ham, Julian Curtis, oh, you don't have the right. Please release Uncharted, the lost episode. Zeno Gussie, Joseph, DP2099, and Mike.
And I would like to thank Hexagon, Mike Marno, Vanessa's mom, Grey Code, Arthur A, Mary Queen of Scoffs, Tracy, Johnny Five Alive, Keysby Knight, Eric Poirier, Race Jenkins, My Battery is Low, Sean Walsh, Do Good Recklessly, RP Siege, Magpie Juju, Wishbone is Gay. Keysby Knight, what a great name. That's a Streetlight Manifesto reference, and I love it.
All right, everyone, that's it for this episode of Square Roots. If you'd like to have an email read on the air, our email address is squarerootspodcast@gmail.com. Come see us at our Facebook group, the Square Roots Podcast group for smart, cool, very attractive people, or find us on Twitter at Square Roots Pod.
Please rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes, Ghana, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Thanks to Stephen Morris for our Square Roots theme. You can find Stephen on Twitter as Beige on Beige and on YouTube. Links in the show notes. If you are on Spotify and you want to hear our old Kingdom Hearts episodes, you got to go somewhere else other than Spotify. They ain't there.
All right, everyone. Oh, are you going to do the Spotify?
I did it already.
Oh, you did it. Okay, sorry. All right, everyone. For Square Roots, I'm Jim Banks.
I'm What's Up, Sluts?
And I'm Vanessa.
John is already gone. Bye.
John also wants to know what's up with the sluts. Bye. He looks more...
Vanessa,
Hey,
you should
everyone,
add
and-
crabs to the end of that.
Yeah. They say upward mobility is a crab.
No, upward mobility is a myth. Crabs.
Your ideas for jokes is crabs.
Wow.
Wow.